Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time we played this, we were in the middle of a trial with our old friend Kazuma on the prosecution, defending the Reaper himself on the murder of Inspector Gregson. I'm ready. If you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. Let's go. There's no time to waste. It's time to do voices again. 2nd November, 12:33 p.m., the Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Oh gosh, here we go. The voices. The voices. I feel like that one meme of the cat, like, shaking is just the voices. The voices. Oh, there you are, Otto. What kept you, my dear fellow? Hello, Mr. Sholmes? Gina? You sure all about what you said in there? That the boss, actually died the day before. It's pretty hard to swallow. Yes, I was shocked by the revelation too, Gina. As was I, possibly more shocked than both of you. It's not a competition, Mr. Sholmes. But I was more shocked than all of you put together. This is the autopsy report in question, is it? Yes, it's strange that there's no time of death noted. I suppose there's a simple explanation, or perhaps it was a deliberate omission. Oh dear, if it was deliberate, it puts me in a mind of the last case we worked on, and Dr. Scythe. I think the coroner's office is pretty pissed at me, I'm not gonna lie. I know, anyway, it seems that on the day before Lord Van Zieks discovered the body, a body has been discovered! Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, so perhaps something happened with them. Come to think of it, you had trouble with those League men too, didn't you, Mr. Sholmes? You were taken in by their trick. No. Naturally, I wasn't taken in, as you put it. My sleuthhound interest was merely piqued slightly by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. And that scent masked the underlying scent of deception, I suppose. The two criminals in question are the pair we saw being arrested yesterday, aren't they? In Mr. Sholmes' suite, I mean. That's right, Suze, and it was me what took him in. Thanks to a tip-off by a good law-abiding citizen. Indeed, yours truly. So it's going to be that pair in the witness stand next, is it? I totally forgot how I voiced them. Something doesn't quite make sense to me, though. The day before Inspector Gregson was found, you hadn't had trouble with the Red-Headed League yet, had you? Why would the inspector have been investigating them? Well, the likely explanation would be that Gregson's own sleuthhound interest was piqued by the rare scent of a weekly £4 income. Don't tar him with the same brush as you, Sholmes. Yes, well, then there's the whole issue of Inspector Gregson being investigated by Lord Van Zieks for some reason. The Reaper, the Red-Headed League, Inspector Gregson, Lord Van Zieks, and Kazuma. I feel as though he knew we'd arrive at this point somehow. Gosh, I think you're right. What's he really trying to achieve here today? I don't know. All the answers will soon be revealed. Observe the time, my dear fellow. This recess will be over very shortly. Yes, you're right. All right, well, let's go back in. I'm ready. Kazuma was determined that he should be the one to prosecute this trial. And he was determined that I should take the defense. Just what is it that he's hoping to make me see, I wonder? I get the feeling we're a long way from the end of this trial yet. All right, well, we got like 4 hours. Let's go for it. Why not? Are you ready then, Mr. Sato? Yes. Thank you. You're my only comfort in this cold, unforgiving world. My only comfort. All right, let's do it. 2nd November. Oh, 1 p.m. exactly? Ooh, clean. Van Zieks. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the closed court hearing of Barak Van Zieks, here present who stands accused of murder. Now then, Prosecutor Asogi. My lord. Have you summoned the witnesses as requested? Yes, the two members of the Red-Headed League who planned and carried out the deception. They arrived not long ago from the local prison by police carriage. Loud crashing, cat hissing, people screaming, "Hi, hi, Crisis! How you doing?" Very good. I want to hear from Barak. Bailiff, usher the two men into the courtroom. Okay, I thought the short one was a girl, I'm not gonna lie. That is a nice plate of spaghetti alla Cecina right there. These two men are currently being held by the police on suspicion of attempted extortion. I can't catch the whole stream, we'll catch what I can. Okay, sounds good. You may omit your occupations, but state your names now for the court. I am Fabien de Rousseau, a descendant of the great de Rousseau family from Nice en France. And my name is Peppino de Rossi. I am the third son of the great Familia de Rossi, the landowners from Neapoli. The two men first became acquainted at a boarding school for European nobility. Those who graduate from Temzik are the future leaders of Europe. But, do you have any idea how boring it is to be born with noble blood? Alas, I make it my mission to get the better of the world by employing the little gray cells of my brain. That is all I am trying to do, huh? So, his name is Peppini. Peppini! Banana can be when eat if yesterday was tomorrow. What the fuck did you just say? That's the only reason for this whole grand deception you've been carrying out? Oui, you could say that. Not bad, eh? He has the grand ideas, but the petty plans. I don't know what the fuck. How do you do Italian? Boppity boopity. No, that's right. That's kind of stereotypical, isn't it? I gotta just get the enunciation. He has a grand ideas, but the petty plans. And I gotta get a little bit of that cheekiness. Also, did they just jump like Mario? I swear to God. This strange combination is the charm of the hilarious brothers. Si, capo? Bitch, I will fuck you up. Listen to me, Peppino. I have two things to say to you. Hey, Shay, are you about to tell me one of your grandy anecdotes, Eva? Firstly, I want you to stop calling me this Campo. And secondly, we are not the hilarious brothers. This is serious business. Gemello, there it is, the Campo's trump card, the furrowed brow. It is deeper, Capo, the furrow and the meaning of your words. The court has been led to believe that under the banner of the Red-Headed League, you have conspired to swindle money from unsuspecting members of the public. This is true, Peppino. Tomorrow is B1. I'm not even gonna read that, bro. Oui, Zeka. And what exactly was the nature of this deception by which you plan to defraud? Hello, I will explain it. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of a voice that like never stops. It's just one long continuous string. Kind of like this long continuous string of spaghetti de alla Cecina flowing into this person's mouth right here behind me. Kind of like how that is a long continuous never-ending stream. That's how I'm gonna try to make his voice. No, Capo, leave it all to me. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair. No, that's French. I'm getting French. As you see, we both have the vivid red hair now. At school, we were teased for this without pity. This is the Capo here. He was many times behind the schoolhouse crying like the Trevi Fountain. Hey, those dogs. One day the world will respect us redheads. Every night he would bury his head in his pillow and weep for the C'est bien, Peppino. Enough, I will explain the rest. The first step was the newspaper advertisement. About 1 week before the plan was put into operation, we listed the same notice in every paper in London. Yes, we saw that notice. That stung. Oh, God. It was this one, I believe, entitled To the Red-Headed League. Oui, c'est ça. Zeka. C'est ça? C'est ma? I don't know. I don't speak French. I am honored that you have seen it. It states that only the only condition for joining the league is having flame-colored hair. And that if you satisfy the interview panel and are admitted into the league, you could receive a weekly income of £4. On the date specified, red-headed hopefuls gathered in droves at a park specified in the advertisement. And from each person present, this pair took an application fee of 5 shillings. And with the money to France. It was a plan most elegant, no? No, it was most dishonorable. But to be frank, I'm stunned anybody was foolish enough to be taken in by such an obvious trick. The park was described by one witness as choked with red-headed folk like a coster's orange barrow. And the day on which all these men gathered to apply was the day before the victim was discovered. Crucially, these 2 men spoke face to face with every single person present that day. Oui, I have seen more red-headed people in one day than I will see in the rest of my life. Z! And now, every time I see the couple say, I feel sick to my stomach. Anyway, why have we been summoned here today? Sorry? That date for our trial was not until tomorrow, I was told. Naturally, neither of these men have been told any details about this trial. They've only been shown this photograph. Very good. Okay, yeah, because this is a private court. So, Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will now give your formal testimony to the court on the subject of the gentleman pictured in this photograph. Of course, we are always ready to help with the law. Yeah, sure, 2 scam artists love to help with the law. I like this little guy. This guy's a little guy, and I like little guys. We had more than 1,000 red-headed people assemble in the park on Lime Street that day. But I don't recall the man in this photograph. Eh, Kappa? No, I don't remember him. Obviously, he's dead now, but I assure you, he was not in the park. Allora, this victim has nothing to do with us. You have a lot to answer for, Peppino. It is your fault that we got caught in the first place. I'm going to punish you in the bedroom later. Anyone else getting that vibe? I'm gonna refund the Destroy Your Ears because I don't like doing those on Ace Attorney days. You've given sworn testimony that this man in the photograph was not present. Can you be certain? Oui, I am quite certain. We did not interview this man. Nobody looking like this came to the park. This I can promise. It must be noted that you have been arrested for a grand deception, however. Accordingly, this court has a little confidence in your assurances. Uffa. With this attitude, we get to nowhere. He's really a-sulking now. He's really a-sulking. This confidential document was obtained directly from Scotland Yard. It records an entry from the inspector's private diary dated the day before the incident. It reads, Lime Street, Red-Headed League, undercover. Ah, I have the answer. Maybe there was another similar event in the park on the day in question, eh? That is ridiculous. There's no question that Inspector Gregson was investigating the Red-Headed League, which means it's quite possible that's when he was killed. Very well. The defense may proceed with the cross-examination now. Yes, my lord. Alright, let's do this. Motherfuckers, you're done for. Bitches. Yeah. I'm using profanities. The man in the photograph. Hold it. 1,000 people. That's a very big crowd. It was quite a spectacle. Red Dead's cover all over the capital. The capo here. No, not Z. The capo here. He has a the magnetismo animale. I don't know what I said. Nobody else could attack so many people. If I could be born again, I would be the capo. All those people wanted was the money, Peppino. The £4 per week. They're so gay. Oh my god. I love these two. They're great. Are you suggesting that you spoke personally with all 1,000 applicants? This edible ain't shit, West Dakota. Oui, that we did. Because every one of them paid us 5 shillings. We take the names, and we take the money. And we take the addresses as well. And then I tell them we take some days to let them know by a post. E finito. Maybe 2 minutes per person. We start early in the morning and we stop late in the night. So you earned 5,000 shillings in one day? That's a small fortune. Who'd have thought there were 1,000 such gullible redheads in London to start with? One of whom was a great detective with chemically altered hair. But I don't recall the man in this photograph, eh, Capo? Hold it. This edible ain't shit. He doesn't look familiar? Just the spaghetti? No, I don't think so. And this is a wig, eh? He is trying to take us. I do not like the people who are trying to trick the other people. Says the con artist. If between them they interviewed 1,000 people with red hair, it would be unreasonable to expect them to remember every face. No, signore. I may be small, but my memory is very large. I never forget a thing. In my opinion, I do not think this man was in the park. But he's not going to give the court a definite, it seems. Eh, Capo? You didn't see a man like this, huh? Bum, 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 bum. Hold it! Bum, 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 bum. But according to what you've said, you spoke with 1,000 or more people that day. Oui, that's true. My eyes were burning by the end of the day. Surely then you can't actually remember every single face. How are you so certain that this particular man wasn't present? No. Normally the red hair is very distinctive, eh? But not when you have 1,000 redheads crowding around. Then it is just an eyesore. But if there was some other information you could have given us, then maybe we would recall. That is not the line, Peppino. Remember, we do not remember him. We are sure of that fact, huh? Bruh. If there was a man with a red hairpiece, but his mustache did not match the color, then I do not think I could have forgotten him. Cosmo said these two had only been shown that photograph and they'd been told nothing else at all. But what if I fed them just one other detail about the victim? For example, his fish and chips! I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation. But what if I told you that the man was always munching on a packet of fish and chips? Do you remember a man who was eating incessantly? Not really. I was looking only at the heads of the applicants. I wouldn't have noticed the fish and chips any more than the caviar and smoked salmon. Oh, the spaghetti. Me, I love the spaghetti. Really? I had no idea. Tell them again what you said before, Peppino. Z, Capo, Z. Si. I say it again and again. Okay, so we did the wrong one on that. Your little belly's showing. Hold it. Okay, hold it. So I'm thinking, spaghetti, ravioli. Well, we've already called him Inspector. I can certainly appreciate that just knowing the man had red hair wouldn't help you remember the situation. What if I told you that the man in the red hairpiece was actually a detective? The man in the photograph, a detective? Yes. It would appear he found your notice in the paper suspicious and decided to investigate incognito. Shoddy, a short bitch? That's a man. I'm sorry, Mr. Tix. Sorry, but this changes nothing. What do you gotta say to that, DeRossi? Excuse me. Where'd Dracula go? He's still here, don't worry. We're defending him. Something to add, Mr. DeRossi? Si, I am always adding something. Parmesan, olive oil, pepper. What I mean is, did you not agree with your friend's last remark by any chance? What did he just say? About the detective? Yes, that. Keep your mouth shut, Peppino. You have said enough already. But why, Capo? What is the problem? There was a man who said that. I am an inspector from Scotland Yard. That's my impression of DeRossi trying to do an impression of Gregson. What? Good lord! Oh my god, of course they're on a box. Order! Explain this volte-face in your testimony, witness. It's simple. A man who was at the park said to us that he was an inspector. There was no such man. might die. What do you think, Capo? Have you forgotten, eh? I have forgotten nothing. Nobody likes this game to the park. Basta, Capo, basta. You beat me at many things, but not two. The memory and the meals. Like I said, when it is time to eat the pasta, no one is faster. But you are inferior to me in every other way. So shut up.
Objection.
Durso, you're a boom! Double slam, baby! Trop tard. The damage is done. Indeed it is, sir. Oui, there was a man who came to the park and he said he was an inspector from Scotland Yard. However, he looked nothing like the man in the photograph. It was someone else. How can you be so sure? Because, to start with, his face was completely different. Is true. The man who came was a younger. His face was a clean shaven. His eyes were sadder. His chin was thinner. No resemblance whatsoever then. Anyway, I was not going to be fooled. I took the obvious precaution and said to him, if you are really a detective, show us the proof. The capo here, he doesn't take on the nonsense, eh? But he was well prepared. He said he had identification. Identification? You mean official police inspector's identification? Rossi's actually tiny. He's so small. That is most unconvincing. Sorry, my lord? Counsel, no incognito inspector would offer his identification for inspection. It's quite out of the question.
Yeah, but what if this was a different police officer? Definitely.
Why would he expose his true identity? Clearly the papers were fake. Certo, capo, you're a genius. As we say in Italia, it takes a thief to recognize another, eh? And what happened after he announced that he was a detective? It became very annoying. He said, you're under investigation. So I took his papers from him and chased him out of the park. It was a fantastico. And look, here is the identification. So you stole it from the man. He had it coming. He made us very scared. But he was not who he said he was. Oh. Indeed, the person described does not appear to have behaved as a true inspector would. However, I believe it would be prudent for these identification papers to be entered into evidence. But I like them. Okay, I need to see who this was, like, immediately. Now, let us return to the witness's testimony. Okay, hold on. Metropolitan Police card. Warrant card. Well, I suppose we should see what this inspector's identification looks like inside. Huh. Yes, it definitely looks fake, doesn't it? Out of interest, what name is given? Probably just something plucked out of the air. It's Tobias Gregson. Wait, what? This Scotland Yard insignia looks genuine to me. But how? And the department and identification number details are all correct as well. Since when have you known those? Do you mean to say, I know it seems incredible, but yes, I think this is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. But that's unbelievable. This is the real thing after all. Whoa. That's interesting. I must go, I will be back. Okay, okay. I'm gonna try to present it right here. In an hour or so? Okay, no problem, no problem. I'll still be live then.
Objection.
By the time you come back, I'm like, we found the killer! It's a conspiracy! McGilden is back! And everything will have gone to shit by the time you come back. I promise you. I promise you. It's all gonna go to shit. I wonder if I could ask you to examine this identification book very closely. Miss Lestrade? Oh shit. Why Miss Lestrade? What is your intention here, Counsel? I didn't even know she was here anymore. Is this really a fake or is it genuine? That's the question, which we can't answer ourselves. Objection. Don't be ridiculous. No Scotland Yard detective would allow his or her identification to be stolen. Oh, howdy. What's up, Gina? That is the boss's. No question about it. It can't be. As I suspected, the undercover detective who attended the Red-Headed League's enrollment on the day in question was the real Inspector Gregson, carrying out an incognito investigation. Zuelos! I was sipping coffee at that time. Order! But if the boss had his identification stolen, he would have reported it straight away. I mean, he was always on me about it. If you lose something, report at once, he'd say. Could it be then that the inspector was physically unable to report it? Physically? What are you saying? Unable to. You're not suggesting... Yes, it's quite possible that he was killed before he had a chance to report his identification being stolen. No! Order! The defense posits that the victim was killed the day before his body was discovered at a different location. Do you two have anything to say about that? I know nothing. I done nothing. Pull yourself together, Peppino. Mon Dieu, you can behave a little more like a master criminal than that, non? Now I wish I had returned to Italia. Oh my god. Stop crying, Peppino, please. Otherwise, Lum, stop your whining and start talking. Well, I believe the court will need to hear your story in considerably great detail. I know nothing. Boom. But you will tell everything, or face the worst possible outcome. You will dry your eyes and testify again about these identification papers and the precise circumstances under which you came by them. Oh my god. For crying out loud! This is great. Jesus Christ! It did not take long at all. Zatusis, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. You what? Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day just in case. We took a man's identification from him and shut him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like prison, really. Oh my god. You did what? This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man. But no, see, no. It was not like a prison. He was a very comfortable and a calm and a happy. Aye, capo. Oh my god. It was never part of my plan. I swear it. Oofa, so you think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong? Just by one a little a day? I do not think it was your fault, Peppino. I know it. No, per favore, capo. It is not fair. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen. Oof, I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective? Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in this prison, in this pair's hideout. I can only imagine he was like, you better let me out of here, mate. I'm gonna fucking fuck you up. Hold it. Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me. I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective did not intend it either. Do you think? But there was nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. This was the first time for the capo. He was at the end of his wits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind. What about this hideout of yours? An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the capo here. An impulsive idea, I would say. No, not impulsive, inspired, eh, capo? And what am I supposed to say to that, Peppino? And it was the house described that you can find it was in the house described that you can find Inspector Gregson, was it? But you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a pretender, not a real inspector. That doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you are right, but we couldn't be completely certain. Bum 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 bum. Too scared? Why? Because why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance he had seen through our plan. And if that was the case, he would go straight to the police station to blow at the whistle on us. Even if he was just feigning to be an inspector, he was up to no good, huh? Without a doubt. I think most people would agree that it's you two who are up to no good. Well, see, you may be right. Hey, capo. The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. See, I ask myself the same question. We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who we took 5 shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard Homicide Division, he said. What? That's not an address. He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude, I just politely asked him why he had said it. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterwards, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say? See, we did. Oh my god, these guys are crazy. I love them though. Yo, what's up, SZM? Welcome back. That being his identification book here, correct? See, that is the one. What made you believe that it was a forgery? I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious, this man. Allah, I was thinking it must be falso. Ay, capo. Wait, it is just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine. Rister commits arson. Pog. And so together, the hilarious brothers, we took the man captive. All we did was shove him in outside a locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all of the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. Hold it. Okay, I'll hold it here. What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? Buff, it was nothing, just a minor incident. The falso inspector, he was a real piece of the work, eh, capo? What happened? Uffa, it was a disaster. We give him a nice room, and what does he do, huh? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape to the Ventalore. Can you blame him? We chased him, Bincer, and we caught him again. Can you blame us? Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? Zoot, who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply got hold of him again and took him back to the room. What do you gotta say to that, Peppino? Excuse me. Boom. Mr. DeRossi, is something wrong? Me? Something Mr. DeRousseau just said seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Carvolo, at times like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from a personal esperienza. Personal experience? That is enough, Peppino. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed league plan into action, I was scared. It was not fair to the capo, but I tried to run away. It's a shame you didn't manage it. But the capo here, he came after me like at the turbine, huh?
and he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it. Aye, Capo.
Bruises, you say?
You wanna see, huh? You wanna see my...
Wait a minute!
Fucking...
Gossip had one of those.
What?
Gossip had one of those. That's curious. That's very curious. Gregson, did Gregson have anything like that? I don't think so. Wait. That's enough, Napapino. No one wants to look at any part of you except me.
What to do, huh? I just show you, or I don't. I just show you, or I don't.
You do! Now!
Allora, if everybody wants to see, then I do it. Echo, you see, is still very visible, eh?
That red ring around your neck? You got that when you were dragged back to the house?
See, the Capo, sometimes he is a very rough, and...
I said that's enough! Peppino's neck has nothing to do with what we are talking about here. You have my word. Yes. What is your opinion, Council? About this red ring around Mr. DeRossi's neck, I wonder, does it matter? It's important. Boom. Mr. DeRossi, I'm gonna have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck.
Aye, Capo, you see? Everyone is interested in what I say, huh?
Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. DeRossi.
See, if you really want to, I know.
So, I don't think there's anything on his neck there. I'm gonna press this statement first.
Hold it!
I'm gonna press this. Are you saying that red mark was caused by...
See, a big collar made from the leather.
A leather collar? Is this true, Mr. Durousseau? What? We had the Saint Bernard at home when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time with a very strong chain. A strong chain? And you put that around your friend's neck? I'm sorry, I was so angry that he was leaving me alone.
You did not have to tie the chain to the leg of a bed, huh? I would not have tried her again.
You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you?
Treated the people equally, is the Capo's here's motto, eh?
It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden.
The Capo is a tough, but the Capo is a rough.
I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning, when you released the inspector...
He added the red ring around his neck, just like a me.
Peppino, s'il vous plaît, leave it now.
Now you know, the Capo here, you don't want to tangle with him, but for the inspector, it's not so bad.
So, I'm thinking, I can't present people here.
Objection.
I'm gonna present the photo. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, Counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck.
Yeah, but that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning, and I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have.
Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim, who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. Indeed, that is most peculiar.
But what did we tell you, huh? Huh?
We say this from the beginning. Many times Peppino is right. The man in the photography is someone different to the man we had captive that night. I think I know who they actually captured. Order! It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all. If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution made that assertion itself. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day, which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter, how did that person come to be in possession of the real inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Miss Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the fact cannot lie. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So then, why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi? Boom. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time. Objection. On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification?
See, that's all right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from a pillar to a post with the dog collar.
Mon Dieu, Peppino, I was not so harsh as you say, huh?
So who was that false inspector, eh? Who was he?
Clearly the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witnesses encounter in the park, posing as Inspector Gregson? It had to be Gossip!
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that... Boom. One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by. Objection! What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? Witnesses! Is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? See, this is a man not for the red... Oh.
See, this man is not for the Red-Headed League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no?
Perhaps rather than making such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Eh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Let's do it. Order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom. Immediately. Let's go. Yeah, that's it. Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this me. It's a birthmark, isn't it? A birthmark, you said?
I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you?
Hey, it's something about an inspector again. But I'm telling you, you got it all wrong as usual.
You're denying all knowledge of it.
Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh?
Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRousseau and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? We are in a big trouble, eh, Capo? That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. All right, let's do this. Witness testimony. I need to sneeze. The inspector on the identification report. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man. It's right, see. You think we will forget these grand lips, huh?
I've never leave Fresno Street, all right? I've no interest in any red-headed league. I'm all alone in the world, me. I've no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I could carry up a disguise with a face like this?
That's it? Oh, fuck. What the fuck is that lower lip? Bro, I don't know. He got fucked up on something.
It would certainly appear we have the wrong man.
What have I been telling you, huh? There was no need for this pointless testimony.
That's right. I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by a police inspector's identification book, eh?
Well, yes, that's hard to explain, but...
A brief cross-examination, I think, Counsel. Very brief.
Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Miss Naruhodo. Thank you. Ooh, Kazuma. Kazuma, what are you thinking, bro? Let me your secrets. All right. Hold it! Hold it, motherfucker. So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There's no need to urge your hands on the desks, monsieur. Surely the reason is obvious, none. Because I have never before... I just squirted soda all over my fucking desk. Well, that sucked. Hold on. God damn. Just give me 1 sec, I'll be right back. Look at that. I've got the Rister towel right here. I'm gonna clean the Rister bottle with the Rister towel. And then I'm gonna clean the Rister desk with the Rister towel. So we can get back to Rister gaming. I'm silly. I'm a silly little guy, Chad. I hope you all should know that by now. I'm just a silly little guy. In a silly little world. With a silly little and some silly little headphones. You know what I'm saying, Chad? Alright, we're back. Because I have never seen lips like this. Nevertheless, there's a clear red marker on Mr. Gossip's neck. And it looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague by your prized collar. Mon Dieu! With your words, it is like you tried to wring my neck. It doesn't look very much like my neck, though, eh?
No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Hey, they broke the mold when they made me.
For the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with red hair. And I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain that you've never seen this man before? Oui, c'est ça. I swear to it by the flames of my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it? You know what I just realized? Do you remember what we found in that convict's loot that he stole? Way back in like chapter 2? We found a dog collar with blood on it. And like jewels from a rich family. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, what if that has something to do with all of this? That's what I'm thinking is going to happen eventually. Is right, see? You think we would forget these grand lips, huh? Hold it. Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. The only white man to beat the no lips accusation, for real, for real. That is what I am saying. For some reason, this makes me want to eat, how did Fabian call it? An eclair. You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise, I'd never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe it is a nationality trait, huh? Maybe all the people from this immense country have the grand lips. No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street, and I've never left. Oof, that is the problem, see? So you definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Now, how many times do you want me to say it, eh? Hold it. So, you'd heard of the Red-Headed League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going off in town. I told that tasty tidbit to a few fair redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got Sandwich to cough up for it. Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. Who knows? But as you can see, my own hair's got not a hint of red in it. I don't know why I did that. And in any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me sidling off to some other part of town. No, sir, not likely. Is that so? I just heard you say it. Excuse me. I didn't have an Xbox 360, so I didn't use any profile picture, Mr. Tix. Mr. DeRousseau! Oui, can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's words just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park, a small house or something. To be the headquarters of your Red-Headed League, yes. Men, he used men. Damn, bro. I visited an housing agent on Lime Street and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. What? Mr. Gossip, with a housing agent? Oui, he had some kind of contract in his hand and they were clearly discussing terms. But no, you're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, like I said before. You've mistaken me for someone else. Someone with the same face. No, the copper was right. I remember it too. He was paying the man with the banknotes. With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me. I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip? No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has no name. But in fact, his name is Hugh Boone. Oh shit. Really? It's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See? No! Oh shit. I'm a peddler of tidbits and information, like I said, on Fresno Street. And that's that. I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. And it's not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well, I shall respect your wishes, sir. The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial. Assuming no objections? Objection! I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case. Good gracious, do you similarly object, Prosecutor Asogi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Well, I never. In what capacity? Hugh Boone, the name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking.
Well, all right. I suppose that might be the case, eh?
Dude. So your real name is Hugh Boone?
Well, that's between us. I don't like to blow my own trumpet, but there's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse.
You do?
And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time.
Aye, if either of us is a vulgar, it is not a me. Zinc again, Pepina. Why didn't you bring this up before?
It's like I told you already. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss.
Jesus Christ. You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone.
If I must.
So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered, has been here under our noses all along. What would you do if Mario Galaxy 3 was to be announced at the February Nintendo Direct? Probably play it on stream.
I went to the room where that fellow was found. It's true for a difference it makes.
Hold it! So, you live in that room, presumably, do you?
No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk.
Then, why would you want to rent it?
Well, I don't think I should have to say, really.
Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to.
No, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. It's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me. The desk and the chair and that.
People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room?
Well, obviously, I've not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest.
It seems to me that Mr. Boone would rather as little is known about his room as possible for some reason. Yes, it does come across that way. And more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's how I'm finally going to undo this man.
Okay.
Oh, shit! Wait! Chad, look at his hair! You don't think that... Oh my God, it's him, isn't it? No way!
Objection!
No way! If you have no kinfolk, as you put it, then explain why is it that among the sparse furnishings, we found this photograph in the room? I presume, as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not?
Well...
Mr. Boone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. The music! The music!
I don't know what you mean. I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave it alone.
As the man says. Leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson. How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features. But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, Counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself a part of an elaborate disguise. then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? Good witness, are you still holding the truth from this court? If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Oh, hello? Oh, I do not speak Spanish, unfortunately, but hello. I'm sorry, no hablo español. But how are you doing today, good sir? Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he could really be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court. No, please, no. Very well then, counsel. What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the street? Oh my god, it is. Boom! Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Ah! I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you were being held captive by the two red-headed League men. And last night, you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial. Because we'd been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. Now, just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea. What I'm talking about? Really? It's all a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull off that disguise. No, please. Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a washbowl at once. Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi, you will restrain the... Hey, witnesses, restrain the other witness. Why would they do that? Oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Oh my god. Oh, look at him go. No, stop. Get off. Oh my god. Oh. Show it. I flippin' knew it. Wow. Oh my god, it really is convincing, huh? That's insane. Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Dang, he got a fresh change of clothes, too. What? Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. Dang. Oh, he depressed. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. This has all been a very elaborate deception. So, witnesses, tell to the court, have you seen this man before? I don't believe it, but... See, there's no question. He's been bamboozled. This is the inspector we saw in the park. Extraordinary. Oh my god. Boom. On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson, who appeared before Mr. de Rousseau and Mr. de Rossi in the park, was you disguised as the inspector, or rather, was you posing as the inspector and no disguise at all. Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as the chief warder at Barclay Prison. The chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why would you quite possibly have become the future governor of the prison? What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years. Oh, shoot, dude. I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I am Daily Vigil.
And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. Oh shit, Kazuma's putting the pieces together too. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from?
Boone is the other me. It's a name I invented.
Well, evidently there is a great deal under the surface here.
I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become.
Okay, go ahead, man. I'm ready to hear it.
Oh shit. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street.
But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you are the chief warder at Barclay Prison.
I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street.
The scene of the very crime we're investigating.
Yes, that's right.
Dude, you look like shoddy back there.
A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine.
Dang, dude.
I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room.
It's just a changing room.
But that explains it.
But why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place?
I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons, and without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them.
So instead, you decided to conceal your occupation from them.
Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything.
Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6 pence apiece, you couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder at the prison. Very true. To have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment.
Oh shit.
What have you been doing?
That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson.
What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth?
It was some years after I had invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. The inspector, that is, recognized me one day.
Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours?
I knew him from my time working at the prison.
Gosh, Gregson.
When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Damn, Gregson was a good dude. Then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him.
A secret? What was it? Wait, hold on. Maybe I spoke too soon.
I was to impersonate the inspector.
What? Impersonate him? Wait, what the hell's going on here?
We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me.
Visit Orxie's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress.
It was always something along those lines. Surveillance work, interviewing people on those occasions. He would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. And for those services, he compensated me financially.
A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense.
But why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say
is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. I'm just so confused about what Gregson was getting at all this. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker. What the fuck was he doing? In time, he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my boon disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. I am so confused about what the fuck Gregson was doing. What? Well, shit, man. It would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered. At the hands of these two Red-Headed League men when they imprisoned the inspector. But no, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day. It was me. Oh, goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, monsieur de la défense, for proving it. What? Dude, I don't know what is happening in this case. Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim. As proven, somewhat ironically, by the defense. I hereby call an end to this cross-examination. Damn.
Hold it!
Kazuma. His theme is so good. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. 10 years ago. The execution of the professor, Genshin Asogi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. No. Answer me, man. One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? It's not, but it might be. Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, counsel? Kazuma, you're not yourself. You're not as calm as collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asogi's last moments. His own father. I know. I do understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Asogi. Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. I do trust him. Very well. Then the defense has no objection. I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role. That's a lie! 10 years ago. That's a lie! I have proof! But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Well, 10 years is a long time. But to have forgotten the reason why he left such an important job. Yes, you're right. And not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily. Which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry? The human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface. And when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't. Kazuma-sama. He's speaking of his own amnesia. But if it must be crushed, then so be it, because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out, one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Do it! Yo, hello, Shadow Boy. How's it going? How's it going? I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a court of law. Can you remove me from tomorrow's tournament? Sure, no problem. And I have a duty to preserve the truth. Boom. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. Dismissal notice.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice. And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all? For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. This dismissal notice is nonsense. Oh, dude. Isn't it? Make sure you made me okay? Yeah, no problem, man. No problem. I got you. If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. I think he is actually suffering a little bit from like memory issues. I don't think he's genuinely trying to lie right now. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on 17th June, 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June. Oh gosh, he's messed up in the head. What was that? The professor's execution? Professor. As you were the chief warder at the time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. Boom. And yet, that execution never took place. Yeah, we know from the convict ostensibly executed earlier that day, later reemerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Dude, he's really blocked out everything, huh? Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on 17th June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Oh God. Yo, he I feel bad for his wife. That's the only comment I have right now. I feel bad for his wife. Mr. Vigil? Oh, he's gonna have a meltdown. I can tell. Right before, yep, dot. Oh, the whole prison. It was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? So it was a conspiracy of some kind. Is my current working theory, because I think Dr. Scythe was in on it somehow. Order! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh, my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles about a man who'd seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? In Lowgate Cemetery, at plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously, something terrible had happened there. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I've reviewed the police reports from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom? And I think it was this dude right here. Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Oh, okay, wait, so maybe not. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. You did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. You spin me right round, baby, right round, like a record, baby. Like, that's what he's doing. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. Oh God, do I have to do his voice again? I do, okay. I have to do his voice again. Well, I'm sorry, Daly. This is a serious business, but I cannot help you now. As Chief Warder, you are responsible for overseeing the execution, therefore, eh? He's Australia. It seems the fella's a Scotland Yard. Want to have a few wee words with you about it. You'd better pack your things, laddie. You're to attend in person. That's kind of more Scottish than Australian. I need to perfect that more. I need Rooster to help me with that. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, he's getting faster, isn't he? It's the professor. The most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished. My life is over. Oh my God. Oh, yeah, there's the meltdown I was thinking of. Order! Bailey, fetch a doctor at once! Jeez, I'm crow, dude. Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect. Oh my gosh. Jesus.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer. appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean.
Oh.
Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Kazuma, and Gregson.
Oh, keep
All
going.
of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past. But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
The narration was good there. Good job, voice actor. Like, damn. To be continued. Oh shit, dude. Here we go. This is a crazy ass case, and we're getting into the late game conspiracy shit right now. Bum bum. Investigation part 2. Let's do that. Let's investigate now. 2nd November. Sholmes the Sweet. I still can't quite believe what just happened. I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned, and it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover. Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family, not even the man himself. But I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? I mean, Runo! Yeah, okay, we need a little bit of cheeriness in our lives, please. Iris, you were miles away. Anyway, I've brewed a fresh pot of some soothing tea for you. I need that right now. Thank you. You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you? Oh. Yes, yes, say yes, we have. Thank you, Iris, how thoughtful of you. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave. I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Gregsy, well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. For the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else. What does that mean? He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. But he just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too important to him. That's so true. So true. But that's what I like about Hurley after all. I suppose that's the lot of a great detective in some ways. So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand. Oh yeah, come with us, we need your help. Do you have time, Iris? Yes, I've finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? Poor Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. Plan of action? I'm down. Well, oh, fucking hell. Okay. There's 3. So how did it go in court this morning? Well, we traumatized a man. We still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Lord Van Zeeks definitely didn't do it. Oh, could he? Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. I know. I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. Like a hound of the Baskervilles? He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. ...
What's going on in his head, I wonder? Probably a lot of things. I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. Blah, 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 blah. Words. The Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Von Zieks has to be innocent, you see. What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out. Just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious. There are still unanswered questions about Lord Van Zieks, though, aren't there? Ah, do you mean... I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office. Ooh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot. But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late. Okay, hold on. Let's talk about Vigil first. Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? That's his wife. That's right. To ask Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband. Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to hospital? Do you know which one? Ah, it's St. Sinner's. I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. But that's amazing, Runo. You found the lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have, by accident. And 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No. So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Sometimes I really don't want to grow up. Damn. There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. To impersonate Gregsy? But why? I have absolutely no idea. Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Including you, Runo. Rosie Sims! What are you doing here? What? Rosie Sims? Holy crap, it's been forever. How are you? I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. It's been a bit? Yeah, you think? Oh my god, how have you been? Tell me everything, right now. Do it, now! I'm joking. That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. I'm good, how are you? I've been doing pretty great, actually. I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to St. Sinner's, then. Okay, well, let's go and... who can we talk to? We can't go to either of these. Prison, Fresno Street, Mr. Vigil's hospital bed. Dang, dude. Something always happens when we go to Lord Chief Justice's office. Something always freaking happens. I bet something will happen again this time. I just bet. There's no way that something doesn't happen. Every time we come here, something happens. Okay, there's Kazuma. I got a job at Sonic in September. I'm now a shift manager in training. Oh my god! Rosie's growing up! No! Ah! That's crazy. 2nd November.
No arguments, Prosecutor Asogi. You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear?
Perfectly. That's Kazuma-sama. Defying Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. Hey, what's up, shotties?
On your way now, Asogi.
My lord. I also have a girlfriend that lives 10 minutes from me. Our 6 months is tomorrow. I am so happy for you. And it's very nice when you're dating someone who lives really close. I can say that from experience. It's so much easier when they're close, honestly. Hello, Kazuma. Kazuma. Ah, he didn't even want to talk to me? Come on. He left without saying a word. Oh yeah, it's great. And then you!
Yes. What are you doing here?
Oh, just visiting, honestly. The Charmander shop is here. Oh gosh, keep him safe from Bongo. I can't handle this responsibility, Fox Sprite 9. I can't have a child, Fox. I can't. It's too much responsibility. Tall masculine woman, chef's kiss. Oh my god, you should have come back during the last case. There was a tall masculine murder woman, man. She was great. And she was a murderer, but she was great. All right. I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
I wanted Van Zieks' trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asogi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it take longer than necessary.
Unwelcome inquiries. Damn, I missed it. Not you take care of Bongo Cat from getting Charmander. Dude, it's too much responsibility, man. Especially with Ace Attorney. With Ace Attorney, I'm trying to like read and do voices and think about the case. Oh God.
As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 35 minutes and 41 seconds. 42, 43.
Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Ms. Naruhodo. In a miraculous, not even 5 minutes. Then the chat takes care of Luigi. Oh man. I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information. Maybe I can try it. Why not? I'll try. I don't know though. The Reaper. Charmander. The Charmander. Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Van Zieks is the Reaper?
I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago in that fateful closed trial that Lord Van Zieks made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted, thanks to all the jurors being under duress.
But that's awful. What's new with you? You know, I've just been pretty much doing college stuff, same job at Chipotle. I've been single for like 5 months, so I'm not having too much social interaction these days. Mostly just focusing on streaming. I'm trying to stream for 4 hours every single day. So, and I've been able to do it so far, which is good.
The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days.
Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe.
Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey.
And people believe Lord Van Zieks was responsible?
He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident.
So he must have had a solid alibi then.
Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper. That's a long run of coincidences.
Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial.
And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated.
Oh my god, was it Gregson? Is that why it's a closed trial? Oh no, it's kind of funny when I'm in a relationship and you're single, vice versa. It doesn't really matter much to me. I feel like I'm one of those like Broadway actors. My first love will always be the stage. I feel that way about streaming, low-key.
Precisely.
Although I am wearing my I Love Hot Mom shirt. My good luck I Love Hot Mom shirt, chat. You gotta love it. Closed trial. When the rock slide, what if someone's on time starting the rock slide? Dude, it's a long string of coincidences, but I just don't think it was Van Zieks. All right. Would a man this sexy cause murders? What a great sentence. That should be the next title of my next YouTube video. Honestly, that should be the title of it.
This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years.
So the last one was the professors, the trial of Genshin Asogi.
Correct.
Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart.
Van Zieks entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he might avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later, with the son of the man Van Zieks had condemned, now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way.
They do say that what goes around comes around. I'm going to public school for the next year after being homeschooled for 7 years. Oh, wow! That's exciting.
However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well.
Kazuma is?
I like my organization to run smoothly, in the exact manner that I prescribe. As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others.
So that's what all these gears are about in here.
If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps.
What do you mean, steps? What do you mean, steps?
Not something with which you need to concern yourself.
That sounds like exactly what I need to concern myself with, low-key.
In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get out of here then. Every time I come to your office, some BS happens, all right?
Now I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours.
Oh my, that is a long time.
And I hold you entirely responsible.
Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes? I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Asogi?
Discussions between the defense and prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go. You can find him in his office.
Oh, thank you. Oh, we get the investigation music. It's so good. I remember Rosie, back when we were playing the Phoenix Wright trilogy, always used to come to Ace Attorney so excited. And now we're on like the second to last case of the Great Ace Attorney games together. I wish you had seen some of the crazy trials we've done, Rosie. It's insane. Let's go see him at once, Mr. Naruhodo. Kazuma's my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. Well, let's go then. A new location, baby. I kind of don't want to go to his room right away. Let's go to Kazuma. Why not? I've been busy, unfortunately. Oh, I understand. Oh, he's using Von Zeeks' office? Okay, that's kind of funny. Dang. He set up a model just like Von Zeeks used to. So this is the office of Prosecutor Asogi now, is it? Kazuma-sama's doing so well for himself. Even though he's always forced to kneel on the floor, Japanese style, in that dark corner. It's his habit to sit Caesar style whenever he's working. Hey, is he over here? Well, it looks like our journey here was wasted. The prosecutor appears to be out. Perhaps we should discuss things with another prosecutor we know first? All right, we gotta go to Van Zeeks. Oh, I'm so happy to do Van Zeeks' voice. I love this man. I work full time, the only 16-year-old that does at Sonic. You're 16 now? Damn, time has been flying by. That's crazy. I'm 19. Time has flown. We're old. We're old. All right, local prison, cell number 1. Lord Van I forgot Iris was with us. Lord Van Zeeks is reading, look. He doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he? But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. I know he has. Come on, buddy, talk to us. What do you Nipponese want? That's no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? Perhaps not. Oh, he agreed with me for once. I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? He didn't even say anything intimidating, but his theme just... It's pumping. Lord Van Zeeks, speaking earnestly. Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow. This does feel very, very strange. I must say I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese, your prosecutor friend. Oh, I see. Yes. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose it's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part? I'll talk to you. I want to talk. Now we need to get Young somehow. The Reaper's identity. You once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all of this. Someone is using you. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. Ah, it's a whole organization. It's inconceivable that all these accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Someone at... You can't mean... It's taken me many years, but I've finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Tobias Gregson. No way. I don't know if that's true. Gregson, the Reaper? I don't know, dude. Our beloved fish and chips eating detective? I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I would much rather believe it. It's Strongheart. So the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because you're playing Ace Attorney again? Neat. What's up, Pell Mell? How's it going, man? You intend to expose him as the Reaper? As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. What's the trial about? This is one of those trials where the prosecutor that we've been against the entire game is the one we're defending. We're defending this handsome man right here. This is basically like if Edgeworth was accused of killing Gumshoe. Is basically what this is what's happening right now. Our detective was murdered, man. Our buddy fish and chips loving British sounding detective, man. I'm so sad about it. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization. I don't believe it. Are you saying that that he was behind all those awful criminals meeting their... Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh. He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi. Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then. Actually, I do have a name. You what? Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then. I love that stupid Brit. Gregson! I don't know what you were doing behind the scenes, but I miss you, man. I don't care. Or if I can name the woman. Oh. The Reaper's a girl? She's a young woman by the name of Asa Shin. Oh my fucking god, it's Giselle Brett. No fucking way. Oh my god, it was just... Oh my god. Wait, what? Shin? Jesus fucking Christ. And it goes all the way back to the first case of the first game? Are you serious? The first killer of the first case of the first game. Dude, these games are connected so tightly. I swear to God. Miss Asa Shin. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Iris's dad! Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey? No way. There's something going on here. Miss Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss. No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was her father. Don't tell her! She can't handle it! Asashin, I should let father know at once. Yes, I agree. Dude. Okay, damn. I seriously need to rewatch an original Ace Attorney playthrough. I almost forgot what you were talking about when you were talking about the Antag. Howdy, we all play this day. We play this all day, every day, only on Fridays. No, we play this on Sundays too. I'm playing it twice a week because I'm trying to get it done. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Asogi. You say he's a friend of yours. My best friend. He's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all in his merits. I have nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. Genshin Asogi, the professor. It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. I see. But that's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zieks was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damned Nipponese have to go and take my brother's life? In spite of having once saved mine. Oh shit, he saved your life. How did that happen? Oh shit, let's get more backstory. People in the chat don't even know what this game is, and we're so deep in the conspiracies and the plot twists and the exposition, man. I'm sorry if this is confusing, just roll with it, man, I'm sorry. It was 10 years ago on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital. So Clint Van Zieks had already been killed at this point then. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden... Oh god, I have to do a voice for him? Don't make a peep! Oh, don't make a peep, you're coming with us! Oh shit. We were surrounded. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I'd been targeted several times before already. Yeah, it's Van Zieks all right, we've got him. I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me, but just when I thought my time had come. If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me. It was Asogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. Bang! Jesus, dude. Well, what happened then? After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was a silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. Two days later, they arrested him. On suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor. You know what? I just got a little thought in my head. I just received a little tiny thought in the back of my head. Just a little tiny doubt. What if he wasn't? What if he wasn't the killer? How awful for you. All at once, I lost the brother I revered and the foreign friend I held in such high regard.
I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zieks.
That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone.
Well, thank you for confiding in me.
The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are.
I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper. Giving assassination orders to Jezile Brett?
Miss Naruhodo,
Let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I get to meet your daddy, Susie. Hooray! Yes, all right. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Dude, we have so much to do in this investigation. This is cray-cray. I want to go to Waterloo, right? But maybe should we first head here? Should we first head here, maybe? Nah, I'm too into it now. I'm too into this part. I bet her father's gonna look mad fine. Oh my god. Hotel Foyer. I mean, kind of, but not really. Not as good as some other people. I thought it yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so princely. It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow, too. My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they're serving in the tea room here, though, wouldn't you say? Ah, look what we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure. Ah, Father. Oh, is this your daddy, Susie? How lovely. What a charming young lady. And you are? Ah, really? So you're the author of The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, are you? That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir. Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know. Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest. Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father. Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explaining that bright look in your eyes. Sure. You wouldn't be smiling so airily if you knew just how bright she is, believe me. Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee of the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery, after I twisted some arms. And I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance. Oh, well, thank you very much. Although I'm fairly sure you omitted by Cosima on the end there. No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me. Really? You didn't miss a step against Asogi, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary. It's very kind of you to say so. And really nice to hear. What I saw in court today confirmed what I'd been hoping for. The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo. I trust you haven't forgotten. Oh, no, you did mention something, didn't you? But first, we have something to report, Father. Of course. Shall we take tea while we discuss matters further? That's her dad? Oh, hell nah, I mean, yay. He's a nice dude, but also he's got some secrets. He's not as fine as the dude he came here with. Like, he is just as old as this dude. But how is this dude so much finer? I'm sorry. Sorry. I wonder where Judge Jijoku has got to. About the Reaper. Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Bailey? I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge. Right, he didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home. Lord Van Zieks was in the dock today. That was Barak, the younger brother of Clint Van Zieks, I believe. That's right. And he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else. I see. So what you're saying is there's been a professional killer at work here? Exactly. Someone by the name of Asa Shin, in fact. I beg your pardon. Did you say Asa Shin? You mean that Jezile Brett woman who was responsible for killing my great friend? Oh no, a friend of yours was. No! Don't tell Iris about this! Don't tell her dad is dead. Oh god. Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend that professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. And that's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. Oh, well, let's talk about it anyways. Fuck it. Ah, I've just remembered something. Biscuits. This hotel has the most delicious looking biscuits. That was rather out of the blue. She's doing this deliberately. I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. I wonder, would you like to come too, Iris? Ah. Oh, yes. Drag her away. You try to leave me behind. Okay, just get him out of here. Get him out of here. I can't wait to see the soul-crushing angst affect her. Damn, bro. So that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she? Yes, that's right. And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great Detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it? It's Dr. John H. Wilson. Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see. Her father? Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial Yume University 4 years ago. But he was murdered last year by Jezile Brett. Why? Why would the hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father. Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not. But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner. So it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think? Well, Dawn and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, that's a new animation he just did. It's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure. That's what we thought, yes. We're back with cinnamon biscuits. Oh my god. Oh, they smell delicious, Iris. I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie? Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris. Oh god, Judge Jijoku. Let's talk about your friend. I haven't seen Judge Jijoku for a while, have you?
Guilty!
But that guilty is still ringing in my ears. No, now that you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either. Please don't be dead. I suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, he'll have gone to explore the Great Exhibition. That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jijoku having once been in the dock himself? Ah, yes. It was all tied up with that accursed trial. The closed trial of Kazuma's father. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and actually managed to break the witness stand. Oh my. He broke the witness stand? Damn, dude. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. The more they show him on screen, the more I go mentally wild. Hell yeah. Oh dear, although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Well, it was all right in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together. Thank goodness. Ah yes, talking of Seishiro, I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please. Oh my god. Oh, what a lovely picture. It certainly seems to shout, we've arrived in Britain. Why is that going in the court record? Why is it going in the court record, huh? Why is it going in the court record? I'm suspicious. Something's wrong. Something's up. None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we? Is there anything I can... Okay, so just looking at it then. Okay. No, that's so true. I don't know, chat. I don't know. I hope. Oh, God. So you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me.
Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting. One way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan. You want me to do what? Father, what's the meaning of this? Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense. Oh, you mean... The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible. Really quite urgently, in fact. But I've not even been in London a year yet. I've read all of Susato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. And having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs. Ugh. So, you'd be leaving then, Runa? But then, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do, Father? You came here to serve as Asogi's judicial assistant. Oh yes, she's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant. Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation, though. You've always chosen your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment. In this matter also. Father. Please, the pair of you, don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand. A hope, if I'm honest. But I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it and come to a decision by the time this trial concludes. Yes, all right. You won't leave, will you, Runa? Ah! God damn it. Well, just come with me. I mean, why live in London anyways, you know? Fuck it. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will. But it turns out that he's still alive, so... Where does that leave me? I don't know who to bet on. I barely know the suspect lineup. Oh god, here. You know what? I'll just pull up the entire court record and go through every single person. Susato, Mr. Sholmes, Iris Wilson, Mr. Mikotoba, Judge Jijoku, Male Strongheart, Barack Von Zeeks, Gina Lestrade, Evie Vigil, Daily Vigil, Barry Gaiden, Tobias Gregson, it can't be him, he's dead, Kazuma Asogi, Gossip, Venus, Sandwich, Fabian de Rousseau, Peppino di Rossi. Anyways, well, excuse me now. I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Asashin. Of course, Father. Thank you. I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson. Oh, good. And please do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you? We'd love to entertain you. I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion your full consideration, won't you? Yes, I will. Going back home. That place sucks! I don't want to have to fight Prosecutor Ouchie again. You know, Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father. I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all of this. Yes, no doubt. Asashin. Of course, it's so obvious. How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now? Mr. Sholmes! Hurley, where have you been? Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question. I didn't notice you at all. No matter, no matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency. To Japan, you mean? Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who? Well... My father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself. I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow. I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes. There's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusty, unshaven father to see this sent.
I will, but what is it? No questions at this time, if you please, Mr. Sutter. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is awry. Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exactly... Now then! You may be surprised to learn that I am a very busy man. I certainly have no time to hide behind CTs and eavesdrop on other people's conversations. So that's what joining us for tea meant. I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows. Wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes! It's not Sholmes, chat. He's a main character. He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace. And left the unpaid bill for his tea behind, too. Alright. I must catch up with Father at the telegraph office. At once. And I'll run and call us a cab. Straight away. And they've both gone. And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Sholmes' bill. Which means I'm stuck with it. Great. I really don't have anywhere else to go at this point. So let's finally head to Mr. Vigil's hospital bed. I mean, finally. Oh God, I remember when Miss Green used to be here and there was the rat in the corner. St. Sanders Hospital, Ward 3. This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently. To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Hey, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil? Yes, thank you. Somewhat better. I'm so sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you obviously tried to forget. The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. You just missed him. Oh, Kazuma beat us to it. He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all this upon myself. Please, don't think like that. Keeping it from Evie, my wife, all these years, I've carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help. So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become of Mr. Vigil all along then. I'm sure this was just desserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but... It wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me. I swear it. I swear it's true. Oh, Mr. Vigil. I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but if possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I want to. I need to get all this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. He looks depressed. He probably is depressed. Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him. You'd pretend to be the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf. Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation. All I would do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha. Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here. Creating an alibi. So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident? Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence. But then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters. Yes. So you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud? That's what the inspector asked me to do, yes. Well, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though. And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck at their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me. Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. We had arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that's when I heard the gunshot. Prison escape. It was at midnight on 17th June 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution. But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it? Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. I have a feeling I know what that loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? Yes. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. So Courtney Scythe was in on it. That confirms it. Dr. Scythe had something to do with this. But she's in jail now. How are we gonna... The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. So you mean the coffin contained... Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. The coffin was then taken out of the room through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there wouldn't have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to get Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? Yeah, I'm afraid I really don't know. All I can say with certainty are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. And that somebody was not me. Okay, the convict Asogi. Obviously you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended only by the elite members of the judiciary, they called for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set up from the beginning, wasn't it? It was a time of delicate diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience. What do you mean exactly? He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day. Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible?
I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life, yes. The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise. Guilty. That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something. Something unusual.
Something unusual? What?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi.
Whoa. What was it?
As I said, it was on the night following his trial after he'd been found guilty. I was here doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand.
Ah, his last will and testament then, presumably?
As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back.
But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh?
Yes, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see.
What sort of conditions?
Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception.
Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly.
Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final days shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable. And what was the exception you mentioned? To the personal effects he was allowed. That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials. Specifically, no pens or paper. So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, that was the long and short of it. I have no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration. As I said, he hid the paper behind his back and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back? Please, please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline. But you know it's against the rules. You're the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet. All right then, but what's on that paper? The last will and testament. This will is the only weapon I have left now.
I squeezed out the baby, but I have no idea who the father is.
I forgot that was my alert. I forgot that was my raid alert now. Hey Cassie, how's it going? Oh my gosh, we're playing Ace Attorney right now. We're playing the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. How are you doing today? Welcome, Raiders. What was your stream like? What were you streaming? How was your stream? Tell me everything, Cassie. I guided the raid. Thank you for it. How can a will be a weapon? So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? It would seem that this isn't the end of the story in this mysterious will. I have a feeling Asogi was set up somehow. I'm not gonna lie. How's everyone doing today, ladies and gentlemen? I was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but somehow it disappeared. Maybe he hid it. It was after Asogi's execution. Hello, Critam JPM. How's it going, man? Welcome. Which was actually an elaborate jailbreak.
Good, nom nom.
Thank you for the follow. Very appreciated, man. Thank you, thank you. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see. Hello, I enjoyed the stream. Thank you for asking. Hope you're enjoying yours. I am playing Ace Attorney right now. Very story-driven game. No one from the raid probably knows what's going on, but I would just ask everyone to kind of ride with it a little bit. To poor Kazuma-sama. And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects. The will, I mean. No, that's right. Though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Kaiden was livid. He was screaming, "It can't have disappeared completely." How did the governor know about it? That doesn't quite make sense though, does it? In what way?
Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it? Oh yes, you're right. I really don't know how he knew, but it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was the Asogi Papers.
The Asogi Papers.
I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened. Your dismissal, and the way you blocked it all from your memory. Cassie was kind to Rister, Pog? Cassie's always kind to me. Why is that unusual? I don't think Cassie would have raided me if she was planning on being unkind. She just comes in and she's like, you're a loser. No, Cassie would never do that. I'd forgotten all of this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though. Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful. Okay, I'm not sure where we should investigate now at this point. Maybe we can go back to the crime scene. I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but... No, not at all. Thank you again. Can you send Cassie's Discord? Oh, I don't have it. But what will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested. Feathers redeemed to check DMs. I do have a message request right now. Accept DM. Oh god, I don't... Okay, that is exactly what I thought it was. I had to turn off desktop audio and view that. Don't get me wrong, I have no problem with Rickrolls. It's just that if I let it play, I'm gonna get copyright struck for it, and I can't let that happen, so I can't let it play. I'm gonna refund that character impression though, because I don't like doing those when I'm doing Ace Attorney streams. Alright. I'm so sorry. Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Okay, interesting. Oh, what, have you just remembered something? Before you go, there's just one thing. Oh, yes? What is it? I'm back, what the hell did I miss? A little bit. The Asogi Papers. Exclamation point. I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason. It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. If it became known that I'd remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Interesting. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. If there's anyone who might know more about a document that Cosmo's father left behind, it would be Mr. Vigil's governor. Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison. All right, let's move out. Let's go! I don't think there's anything at the scene of the crime for us right now. Let's go to the prison. Some person redeemed check DM. I did it already. I did it. You got rickrolled by video? It did, the audio didn't get played. Oh! The prison is not prison governor's office. Mindbat. Barclay Prison, governor's office. Oi, mate. Oh, I'm Australian. Ugh, back again, are you? Yes. Hello. I've heard all the Booyah investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil. Yes, luckily. Well, anywho, the laddie don't work here anymore, so your case has not to do with Barclay. Oh, when they like you, they get the wrong idea about that. Of course, yes, Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so... Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the chop. Aye, come here, you can very well. So how about a wee handcuff biscuit? Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. And as hard as irons, too.
So, what's what you doing here today? Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually. Is that, we believe there might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi's cell. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something. Oh, shit. Did I know say? Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Hey, mate. Leave that past in that past, laddie. Let's not food it with irrelevant details. His expressions changed completely. We're clearly onto something here. My comb. That made me realize.
Squeezed out the baby, but I have no idea who the father is.
Thank you, Feathers2000! Rating with a party of 4. Thank you very much as well. Guys, if you're not following Feathers or Cassie, you should go do both of them. I have 5.7k beans and I haven't done anything with them. Ooh, interesting, Pomo. That murderer's botched execution and the whole miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, aye. A shocking embarrassment. Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean? Aye, for shame. The coroner who'd confirmed the death of the man after his execution, Courtney Scythe. And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair. But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it. The rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs? Oh, how could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet. When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out of your office window, didn't he? I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think he would on that jump from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. You wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you? Of course, I can't shun all responsibility myself. I shouldn't have let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anybody that cans what's going on at the time now. With Gregson having murdered and Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors. No visitors? Someone obviously doesn't want her giving anything away. Well, we're not going home empty-handed. And I wouldn't dream of sending you packing with no it, Kimmer. Hey, take a handcuff or two. Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. Wouldn't want to become anemic. Oh my gosh. I suppose, if there's anybody who might still can to boot what happened back then. It'd be that last from the forensic division, Maria Gory. Maria Gory? Aye, Scythe's daughter. She did not have no more, just the one. But the wee Battins followed in her mom's footsteps. You did not ever see her without a scalpel in her hand. Ah. I do remember that, I do. She's got a plague doctor mask too, which is cool as fuck. Mama, what is this? Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? I remember her. Dr. Scythe's daughter, Maria Gory. Why do they have different last names? We could do it talking to her. Well, let's talk about her again. Let's talk about her. So she's Dr. Scythe's daughter, but her surname is Gory? Aye, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't care in the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her mom working with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I cannot understand it myself. Perhaps she was driven by a deep respect for her mother. FBI? Perhaps. Anywho, she was in charge of Gregson's autopsy, I believe. Oh, God. Right. And the coroner responsible for this incomplete report. Someone told me once that the wee lassie already loved her mom's stories about cooting up bodies. There's even a rumor that she used to listen to the funeral march as a lullaby. Well then, perhaps. Her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago. Aye, I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, that was a life-changing case for all of us. We really need to speak to Miss Gory herself about this, I think. Well, thank you very much. I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you now get up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions. I'm sorry. I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone. Can you not just stay away, no? Leave me alone and then I come back here, eh? Okay, well, first let's talk about the Asogi Papers. How'd you come to keen about that, laddie?
There's no many folk even here in the prison who've heard of those papers. Well, I can't tell, Mr. Vigil told me. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. Heh. We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather Genshin Asogi's. Ah, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy. Oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it? Havers, no, you're off a hot cock there. I think you did not quite get your facts straight. It was there in the cell, exactly where it should have been. Oh, not what we heard elsewhere. Let me just have a wee hook around in here. I'm sure I can find it. Ah, here you are. See? The Last Will and Testament of Genshin Asogi. Written with a calligraphy brush. Of course, I cannot read a word of those Japanese squiggles. But on mine it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland. Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it. So these are the Asogi papers. Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi, no doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. After all the stramash or that sliced of an execution. We sent the man's possessions back to his clan in Japan, and that was the end of it. I think we ought to make a record of this, Miss Naruhodo, just in case. I want to read those. One thing before you go on your way, Miss Naruhodo. I want to read these real quick. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request that upon my death, any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me in London be delivered to my son, Kazuma Asogi, in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land, in the knowledge that I will never see my homeland or family again, but I regret nothing about my chosen path. Interesting. Oh, yes? Those papers are not to do with Gregson's death. I prefer it if you deny making a mention of him outside this office. Or rather, I wouldn't I just prefer it, consider it an order from the highest levels of your government. I understand. Interesting. I kind of suspect Governor Kaiden a little bit. However, he's been very forthcoming with not only information, but like documents. He gave us this will. He gave us Vigil's dismissal papers. He hasn't been hiding anything from us by any stretch of the imagination. So it's kind of hard to believe that he's like up to no good. But something about him is still suspicious to me. All right, here we go. Kazuma. Kazuma. I thought it wouldn't be long before you paid me a visit, Ryunosuke. I was right about what I said, wasn't I? Sorry? That you have all the makings of a great defense lawyer. Well, I always believed that you'd fulfill your dream of advocating in the British courts. I just never imagined for 1 second that it would be as a prosecutor. Seeing you stand in a foreign courtroom, so gallantly realizing your dream, Kazuma-sama. I'm truly happy for you. And I am truly thankful to you, Judicial Assistant Mikotoba. Ryunosuke, I always thought it would be fun for you and I to shake up the British legal system a little together. God damn it, OBS, please. Please don't shit out on me, OBS, I'm begging you. This isn't quite how I envisioned it. Envisioned? Whatever. I suppose it's just another twist of fate. I've learned a lot of things during my time in London. About how Sasato-san's father was himself a visiting student here once, with Judge Chijoku, and about what happened with your father. Then you'll have no difficulty understanding why I had no choice. Why I had to find a way to get to Britain as a visiting student myself. I want to hear it from you, Kazuma. As you wish, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. Alright. Your disappearance. It's getting on a year now, since what happened on the SS Burya. We were heading across the oceans from Japan to Great Britain, when a bizarre series of coincidences led to those tragic events. I thought I'd lost my best friend forever. I must have been unconscious for a long time. When I awoke, I was lying on a bed. It was a narrow little room. There was a posy of flowers by the pillow. It took me a little while to realize that I was in the cabin of a ship. I slipped out of the room and headed up onto the deck. Were you already suffering from amnesia at that point? Yes. I didn't know what had happened or where I was. There was just this voice in my head. You have something you have to do, something no one else can know about. Go to Great Britain. Your task awaits you there. It was a calling I couldn't ignore. It compelled me relentlessly. Out on deck, I saw that I was on a huge steamship and we were docked in a large port. It must have been Hong Kong. Yes. Yes, it must have been. Presumably just before they were due to carry your body off the ship. I had no idea of the situation, but I did have the feeling that this was in some way my last chance. So I concealed myself among the disembarking passengers and went ashore. Then I disappeared into the crowded streets of that foreign port city, so I could plan my onward journey to Great Britain. Just under a year ago, with all my past memories lost to me, I was left behind in Hong Kong. Everything was foreign to me. The sights, the sounds, the smells, my head reeled. I was truly at a loss. I realized now that I'd escaped as a dead man, with nothing but the clothes on my back. No money, of course. Oh, how terrifying for you. Luckily, though, I had 2 feathers in my cap. One being your knowledge of English, I suppose? That's right. And on the back of that, I was able to pick up some work as a deckhand on a cargo ship. Eventually, after calling at countless ports, I finally arrived at Dover. That must have been some 3 months ago now. Your formidable tenacity of purpose showing itself again. I mean, the man had lost his memory and had literally nothing to his name, but he still managed to make his way to London on the opposite side of the world. Of course, I had no idea why I'd moved to heaven and earth to get there at that point. So, how did you end up becoming Lord Van Zieks' apprentice then? That can only be called an extraordinary stroke of luck, really. You see, I was stopped at the border because I had no papers. They took me straight to Scotland Yard. And by sheer coincidence, Lord Strongheart was there to attend a meeting. That's when the second feather in my cap came into play. Would that have been your knowledge of the law? Yes, exactly. Lord Strongheart was curious about an Easterner with intimate knowledge of British law. He took me back with him to the Supreme Court and assigned me to the prosecutor's office. And then, 9 days ago, you finally got your memory back after the trial involving Drebber. Yes, I did. Your father! Ever since I first met you at Yume, you talked about your dream. Mark my words, Ryunosuke. I'll be chosen as a visiting student, and I'll make my way to Great Britain someday. Hey, Joel! Oh shit. How's it going, man? Did you know the entire time about what happened to your father here? 16 years ago. Ah, look at the 2 of them! Oh my god. When my father left on that exciting trip to Great Britain, I was just a boy. We took a photograph together the day before his departure. It's my last memory of him. But what I remember most about my father is his unswerving sense of justice. Kazuma Mishima. 6 years after he left, a gentleman called at our family home. He told me that Genshin, my father, had been taken ill in England and passed away. It was Professor Mikutoba, your father, Sasato-san. Oh my. Ever since then, the professor was very good to me. He even helped to fund my university education at Yume. I'll be forever in his debt. But nevertheless, I just couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd told me. Oh. Then one day, a letter arrived at our house from Britain. There was no indication of the sender, so I opened it assuming it was from an old acquaintance of my father. What I read in that letter changed my entire life.
What did it say?
It said that my father had been a mass murderer, and the writer cursed the Asogi name.
Oh no!
As a result of that letter, I found out what had been hidden from me all those years.
Letter from Britain. Let's talk about it then.
Presumably, the letter was sent from a relative of one of the victims. If whoever it was had been a member of the judiciary, he could have been present at the closed trial. The letter revealed that my father had been sentenced to death, executed for being a killer.
I'm so sorry you had to find out that way.
I imagine the British government did its very best to silence whoever sent that letter. But someone who knew the truth and couldn't bear resentment was going to be a problem.
But still, it could have been written by anyone. Why would you believe such a thing?
There was a newspaper cutting included with the letter. It was the first I'd ever heard of the professor and his terrible killing spree.
Well, what did my father have to say about the letter?
I couldn't bring myself to show it to him.
What? Why not?
Because he deliberately concealed the truth from me by telling me my father was taken by a fatal illness. That couldn't have been easy for him, and he'd done it out of consideration for my feelings. So instead, I showed the letter to Judge Chijoku.
Ah, to the other visiting student.
He faltered for the briefest of moments, but then he just laughed the letter off. But in that moment, I saw it on his face. He was undeniably shocked, shaken momentarily before recovering his poise.
My lips are so chapped today, chat. I don't know what's happening.
A year later, a bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and my bereaved mother succumbed to the strain of grief, and she too passed away. That's when I made up my mind that one day, without fail, I would cross the seas to Britain and seek the truth for myself. The truth about my father, Genshin Asogi. And I wouldn't let anyone stand in my way.
Oh, Kazuma-sama. The Reaper. Let's talk about the Reaper. Let's talk about it.
What we learned today in court turned things completely on their head. It was an impressive piece of lawyering, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, you know. I almost don't want to believe it myself, but it turns out that Inspector Gregson himself, the victim, was.
It's clear that the inspector was behind the Reaper's activity all along.
What? You mean you knew?
The real question is, who's been giving orders to the inspector? Yes, Barak Van Zieks is the real Reaper. And I know that 10 years ago it was him who decided my father must be a mass murderer and sent him to his grave.
No, he was merely seeing that justice was done as the law dictates. He's not to blame.
Ultimately, it's people who condemn people. The law is just the tool they use to do it. And when a man condemns another, he must take responsibility for his actions. Of course he must. But I know for certain that my father would never have taken another man's life.
Kazuma.
On the contrary, my father's life was taken by the Reaper.
I've been kind of thinking that maybe Genshin was set up the whole time. I don't know, though. What do you think about this? Kazuma, what do you... Okay, nothing. Okay, interesting. Okay, alright. I'm not sure there's anything more I can say to him at this point. Where should we go? Let's just go to the crime scene again. I'm not sure if there's anything else we can really do. Alright, 2nd November, room on Fresno Street. Wait, is there really nothing here? I don't think there actually is anything new. Wait, I must not be done with Kazuma. I can't, like, there's no way I'm done with him, right? God, his theme is so fucking good. I swear to God. I don't know what I should present about. Oh, this came up in the trial, didn't it? As something a little dubious, I mean.
The fact that no time of death was recorded on Inspector Gregson's autopsy report. We need Maria Gori.
Yes, there were some unexpected turns in the courtroom earlier. The suggestion you came up with certainly took everyone by surprise. The idea that the victim died the previous day at some other location is quite something.
Well, considering when the pocket watch had stopped and the scorch marks on the candle, it's certainly a distinct possibility. The evidence and the scene both point to it.
To be honest, it bothered me too. So I paid a visit to the autopsy room earlier. The coroner responsible wasn't there, but I got a name. It's Dr. Gori.
If it wouldn't trouble you, Kazuma-sama, we'd very much like to speak with the coroner too.
Of course. The last thing I want is for anything to be brushed under the carpet. Scotland Yard's autopsy laboratory is behind Lowgate Cemetery.
Lowgate Cemetery? By Barclay Prison, you mean?
You know it, do you? The prison where my father was incarcerated and robbed of his life.
Kazuma-sama. Well, thank you. We'll pay a visit to the laboratory later today. Okay, that's what I needed. I was like, we need something about the coroner.
Ryunosuke, I want to thank you.
What for?
For this. You safeguarded the soul of the Asogi clan.
Well, it is a famous sword that's been in your family for generations. My only slight regret is I never got the chance to draw it before I return it to you.
Karuma is said to have been forged by a master swordsman during the Sengoku Warring States period.
I know about that. I've learned about that. I'm a little bit of a history fan. I wouldn't say fanatic.
I come from a long lineage of warriors, many of whom were expert swordsmen.
Well then, you're a chip off the old block, I'd say.
This blade, Karuma, is the symbol of the Asogi's clan honor and might. Apparently, one of my father's apprentices even took the blade's name for his surname.
Really? Karuma? It does sound formidable, that's for sure.
16 years ago when my father was a visiting student here.
Is that a reference to Von Karma from the Phoenix Wright? It better not be. That would be cruel for them. But I think that is what that's referencing, actually.
When my father was a visiting student here in London, he had this sword forever at his side. Which is why it means so much to me that I have it by my side again now too. And that is all thanks to you.
It was an honor.
Now, I have preparations to make for tomorrow. Perhaps I said a little too much.
Kazuma, you've changed.
No, Ryunosuke, I haven't changed at all. It's you who's changed.
I can completely understand your resentment of Lord Van Zieks given what happened. But the fact is, those events in this case are, well...
Unrelated? Is that what you want to say? How can you be so sure?
What do you mean?
Never mind. That man is the Reaper, and it's for that reason that the inspector was killed. I'm going to prove as much in court tomorrow. By whatever means necessary.
I can't let you do that, Kazuma.
I know you'll do what you have to as a lawyer, but I'm sure I don't need to tell you that I won't be taking any prisoners in the courtroom.
I would expect nothing less.
Until tomorrow then, in the Old Bailey.
Oh my god. Forensics Laboratory. His theme is so fucking good. Oh, well, you've certainly changed the decoration in here quite a bit. I approve, Maria. I approve. This place really is creepy, isn't it? Well, being a dead room, it's probably full of the spirits of the dissected. But actually, there's a rather pleasing scent of roses in the air. Well, being a dead room, the coroner probably needs a bold scent like that to mask the odor of death. Iris, do you think we could change the subject?
Okay.
Shink, 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 shink. Also, her mask is right there, so is she not wearing it? What was that? Shink, 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 shink. Oh my god. I could fix her, chat. Dr. Gory? Hey. What? Yes! Oh my god, okay, she's awesome. That noise before. I was sharpening my tools. I'd be dead meat if I didn't keep a perfectly keen edge on them. Right. When following the collagen fibers in the dermis, an expertly sharpened scalpel cuts like cheese. Would you like a demonstration? Oh, yes, please. I'd love to see. Iris. Then, I think you'll do nicely. Huh? No, I wouldn't do nicely at all. I mean, maybe some other time. Was that a tut? Well, we came here to ask questions, so. Okay, I'll converse. The time of death. It's the only thing I have to talk to her about. We have actually met before. I'm a lawyer, if you remember. You're not dead yet. What? So Mama said I wasn't to cut you open. She's so strict about things like that. Well, good. Dr. Scythe has some scruples, at least. Some? She murdered a dude. Oh dear. It looks like she's not interested in talking to us, for the time being anyway. For the time being? You mean until we die? I hope that's a way off. Oh, does she recognize me? Sorry, but I wasn't planning on dying anytime soon. Surely there's some less drastic way of making her listen. Bam, yes, autopsy report. Dr. Gory, we actually came here to ask you about this. He was very good. Good? Sorry? His skin didn't snag my blade once, and very little mess. His joints dislocated easily, and his muscle tissue was a pleasure to work with. Don't talk about Gregson like that, man! We can skip those details. But there is one thing about the report that's caught my attention. You don't seem to have recorded a time of death. Yeah. Let me check something. 19! I can fix her! I can fix her! That's not my fault. Oh, that made me jump. Then please, tell us what happened. Time of death, there we go. So, why doesn't this autopsy report include the victim's time of death then? It's really the most crucial detail. I was told not to write it. What? By whom? Male Strongheart, the Lord Chief Justice. He came here. Lord Strongheart came? He said that from the witness statements about the gunshot and the other evidence, it was obvious. The man clearly died at 5 p.m. on 1st November when the gunshot was heard. I think Strongheart is corrupt. I'm calling it now. I think he's gonna be the villain of this game. Every single suspicious thing that happens has his name looming over it. He's behind everything, man. But that's not the time of death you wrote on the report. You didn't write anything. Was there some reason you didn't include it? Dr. Gory, if you're hiding something under Lord Strongheart's instructions, then sooner or later, you're going to go the same way as your mother. Oh, dang, Ryunosuke! Dude! What a freaking baller, just hitting her with that? Give it here, then. Huh? Dude, now I have the updated autopsy report. I have the updated autopsy report. Let's go! What's she scribbling about so furiously? There. You've written... What? What's she written? Tell us! Indeterminate. But... Oh my god. What do you mean indeterminate? What do you mean by that? Why was the time of death indeterminate? When the specimen was brought in, it was still fresh. So the time of death could easily have coincided with when the gunshot was heard. But there was one small discrepancy.
What discrepancy? There was some fried fish in the pocket of the specimen's overcoat. Gregson! He loved his fish and chips! And that fish had started to rot. What? If the victim liked fried fish, he presumably liked to eat it before it went off. Well, yes. What are you really trying to say? It's possible that someone tried to manipulate the apparent time of death. Manipulate the... Is that even possible to do? Theoretically, if you were to chill the body in ice, you could delay the onset of don't even fucking know that word. Putrefaction? And if the overcoat wasn't on the body at the time, then only the fish would have started to rot. With today's science, it's not yet possible to determine if the body was chilled or not. But today's science is advanced enough to let you freeze a corpse, it seems. But surely, to chill a corpse like that would require an enormous electrical refrigerator. And I don't imagine many households in London are equipped with such a device. No, definitely not. But maybe in a factory? Or some other special places. I don't recall seeing any factories or such like on Fresno Street, though. I wonder if the inspector's body had been chilled somehow. What might the actual time of death have been? I couldn't say for sure. But at the most, it might have been a day earlier. No! In other words, it would corroborate your previous deduction, Miss Nodohodo. That Inspector Gregson was killed a day before his body was discovered, at a different location. And then frozen. Did you inform Lord Strongheart of this possibility? He simply said that there were no electrical refrigerators of that size in the vicinity. I think Lord Strongheart is fucking a liar. Oh yes, one other thing. It's something the governor of Barclay Prison told us. He said that your mother, Dr. Scythe, was responsible for confirming the death of the professor after his execution. The professor. Apparently, you always enjoyed listening to your mother's stories about her work, so we were wondering if you might know something about what happened 10 years ago. That's not all Mama did. Sorry? My mama carried out the autopsy of Clint Van Zieks as well. What? Really? The brother of Lord Van Zieks, the professor's final victim. The idea of carrying out an autopsy on a member of the aristocracy was completely unthinkable back then. But the detective in charge of the investigation insisted, and it was miraculously authorized. That detective being Inspector Gregson, of course. Quite an accomplishment for one man. That autopsy provided the vital clue needed to arrest the killer. And Mama was there for that historic event. What does all this mean? Did Gregson set him up? You know, that amazing autopsy happened right here in this very room. The professor and Clint Van Zieks. They both spent their final moments before their burial on that dissection table there. So this lab, Mama's lab, was instrumental in some of the country's most important events. She really is proud of her mother. I wonder if you tell us more about exactly what happened back then, Dr. Gory. Okay, well you know what? For talking to the person that was responsible for getting her mother convicted of murder, Dr. Gory is very forthcoming with information. Like we got her mom convicted of murder. Like murder. Like we proved it in court and got a confession. She's very kind to us, given that fact. You know, I would have not said anything, to be honest. Confirmation of death. The professor's execution was Mama's first big case. She had to be in attendance at Barclay Prison's execution chamber and sign the certificate to confirm the convict's death. Mama's the best coroner in the world, you know. I was so proud of her. You mean, was. But the execution didn't actually take place. No, and worse still, Mama actually helped with the jailbreak. I didn't want to know. Oh dear, you found out recently, you mean? I believed in her, in Mama, but now I wonder if I'm starting down the same path as her. You mean, because you omitted the time of death on this autopsy report? But that's because Lord Strongheart forbade you from including it. Just like Mama,
I'm sure she was coerced by somebody too. Yes, that's my feeling as well. There's no doubt that there were powerful forces at play 10 years ago. The execution couldn't have been staged without a lot of people at the prison knowing about it. Obviously, the prison governor must have been in on it as well. The big man with the little handcuffs? According to what he told us, he was tricked by the chief warder. He says he knew nothing about it. Of course he said that. I'd say the same thing. Just who was behind that jailbreak all those years ago? Clint's autopsy. I love goth women and white-haired chicks. Well, have we found the lady for you? You mentioned the autopsy of Clint Van Zieks. It was at a time when carrying out autopsies of murder victims was very unusual. It's still not a practice that's observed in our country, even now. It turned out that he was the professor's final victim, and when the autopsy was performed, Mama was present, although only as the secondary assistant. The person leading the procedure was called Dr. John H. Wilson. Huh? You knew? And there was one other person present, the primary assistant. He was a visiting student from the Far East. Wait, a visiting student? It must have been my father, Yujin Mikotoba. I had no idea Professor Mikotoba had been involved in something so important. God, Iris's dad and Susato's dad and Gory's mom were all there for Clint's autopsy. Everything is connected, man! But the outcome of that historic autopsy was the discovery of a vital piece of evidence that led to the capture of the professor. I still am starting on the theory that Genshin Asogi wasn't the killer at all. I still think he was set up. So that's how they came to identify Genshin Asogi as the infamous mass murderer. And you know what? You know what I think? You know what I think? I think the real professor was Lord Strongheart. I'm calling it now. I think it was Strongheart. Do you happen to know anything about the piece of evidence? Can you tell us any more? Would you like to see the records for yourself? Would that be all right? What's the point of keeping records if people can't look at them? They're filed under V at the back of those cupboards, with the other records from the last decade. Thank you. Man, she is very forthcoming. Let's see. Van Zieks. Van Zieks. That's strange. What, Miss Naruhodo? They aren't here. There's nothing under Van Zieks. There must be! Perhaps somebody took them away? No one's allowed to take documents related to the professor case out of this room. But you're right, they're gone! Well, when was the last time somebody looked at them? Do you remember? It was... Oh yes, I remember now. It was 2 years ago. A consulting detective came one day, saying that he'd like to see the records. No, you don't mean... Herlock Sholmes was his name. What are you hiding, Sholmes? Deep down, I knew that was coming. Do you think he stole the records? Oh no, surely not. Iris, that can't be right, can it? Oh my god. Iris? Oh, fuck. Runo. I hope you don't mind, but... What is it, Iris? I've just remembered something very important I have to do. I'm going to have to leave you now. Oh, this is very sudden, Iris. Well, we'll come with you then. Oh, no, there's no need. You and Runo can take your time here. Bye for now then, good luck. She's out. She's out. Wait a minute, little girl. Me? I remember now. You've been here before, haven't you? Have you, Iris? Yes, 2 years ago, when that detective came. You were with him, weren't you?
You were a living specimen then, too.
That's the way it usually works, yes.
Was I? I really don't remember. Anyway, sorry, but I'm a stash.
Wait, Iris.
I'll brew up a pot for you when you get home.
What's the matter with her? She's behaving really strangely all of a sudden. This seems weird, but I trust Gory like the most right now. Like, I trust her more than I trust Sholmes right now. This is crazy. Well, in that case, we won't keep you any longer either. It's been quite a while since I had any visitors. This was really fun. But next time you come, I'd prefer it if you were ready for dissection. I can't make any promises, sorry. It's a bit strange that the records of Clint Van Zieks' autopsy have disappeared. But I think we've asked all we came to ask now. We need to find these papers. We need to find them. I don't know where they'd be, though. Is there any way we can look at any of this? All sorts on these shelves, chemistry apparatus, books, papers. Lots of things I've never seen before. Okay. I don't get it. As it happens, I'm quite well practiced when it comes to stacking shelves. Okay, never mind. And it does, the epitome of your disarray. I really don't get it. Okay. Fair enough, Susato, but you don't have to say it. What about the... Can I look in here? My eye is always drawn to this big metal chest Mr. Sholmes and Iris uses as a coffee table. Isn't it where Iris keeps her very important papers? It is, so you'd think that they'd treat it with more care, really. But only the other day I saw Mr. Sholmes kick it. Oh no. I suppose something must have been frustrating him. What a shame to mistreat the furniture, though. Was it damaged? The chest was fine, but Mr. Sholmes was doubled up on the floor for almost 10 minutes. That's funny. Oh dear, that is a painful tale. I don't know. What if we go to the Lord Chief Justice's office? When there's nothing else for us to do, we go here. Okay, never mind. There's nothing here. Okay. Oh. Well, Kaiden isn't here. What about Van Zieks? Oh, he's not here. Damn. Okay, oh, the crime scene, of course. What the fuck is that box? Fresno Street. The police are still busily investigating in here, then. But Gina's nowhere to be seen. Where is she? Yes, it has been blissfully quiet, hasn't it? Perhaps she's out investigating on her own, by practicing what her boss taught her. Well, I expect she'll be back before too long. Shall we wait? Actually, there's something different about this room since the last time we were here, isn't there? We could always use the time to investigate more thoroughly. This little trunk wasn't here before, was it? Oh, it appears to be made of metal. It must be very heavy. I wonder to whom it belongs. Certainly nobody here. There are some initials on the outside, look. TG. It's Gregson, mate. Let's ask one of the policemen if they know how it came to be here. Oi, what you think you're doing? That's Gina, isn't it? Gina, that's my trunk, that is. Hands off. Gina. I love her theme. Where were you hiding? I don't know, you leave something unattended for a few seconds and every Tom, Dick, and Harry's got his greedy hands on it. Just a wild guess, Gina, but... What? Spit it out, Odo. Is it fair to say that you've only owned that trunk since this morning's trial? What are you trying to say? Come on, this trunk goes with me everywhere, always has. Where have you been the last year? Trying not to incur your wrath, mainly. I need to, nope, not leave. I need to converse with you. Your boss. Oh, Gregsy. You should hear them talking at the yard now. They should be ashamed of themselves. They're saying that it was the boss who killed all them bludgers. Ah, you mean the whole Reaper thing? Yeah. I think it was Strongheart. I think Strongheart is the professor. I think Strongheart is the Reaper. I think Strongheart is responsible for everything now. Apparently the boss was investigating stuff that no one else at the yard knew nothing about. Stuff to do with all them criminals what got off scot-free. Crisis, things have changed dramatically. I made a joke when you were leaving, and I was like, oh, by the time you get back, everything's gonna go to shit, and McGilded will be back, and everything's gonna be on fire. I wasn't that far off! I wasn't that far off! Dude! Gossip was Daily Vigil. They're the same person. They're the same person. They're the same person. And oh, look at the end. And we talked to her. We talked to her. I can fix her. And Mr. Sholmes and Iris stole the autopsy report from Clint Von Zieks. 2 years ago. My brain is ticking. And what other new evidence do we have now? What other new evidence is there? There's just so much. Yo, what's up, Yoshi Games 14? Been a while? Has indeed. How have you been, good sir? How old is the fat redhead, by the way? That's really rude calling them that. 25. 26 and 25. Damn, only 26 and 25? That's crazy. Poor Sandwich. I feel bad for Sam. He looks A, exactly. Yes, the ones prosecuted by Lord Van... Oh, by the way, I totally forgot about this. I totally forgot. So, a new theory about who the Reaper is pervading this entire chapter. Everyone thinks they know who the Reaper is, Crisis. It's going good, seeing as I have a girlfriend now. Nice, good for you. Crisis, everyone thinks that Gregson was the real Reaper the whole time. I know! It's crazy! And Barak Von Zieks told us that he knew that he knew that Gregson was the Reaper, but he wasn't the one doing the dirty work. He was giving orders to someone else who did the assassinations. And guess who was doing those assassinations? I'm gonna let you guess. I'm gonna let you guess. I'm gonna let you guess, Crisis. Why is it only show? No, Jezail Brett, aka Asa Shin. No fucking shit. Yes, it's insane. Things are going crazy right now. It's only when you leave that shit goes down. The ones prosecuted by Lord Van Zieks, who used bribery and corruption to evade conviction. Then obviously it was that bloomin' Reaper giving the orders, wasn't it? But why would people be suspecting Inspector Gregson of being involved in the killings? There was a notebook hidden in his office. Oh no, this doesn't sound good. Oh my god, what game is this? This is the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles 2 Resolve. It's an Ace Attorney game. Okay, wait, Crisis, I need to explain what happened with Daily, right? First things first, we know that Dr. Scythe was in on letting the professor escape prison. Dr. Scythe was in on it 110%. And the question is, was it the governor of the prison or the lead warder who was in on it as well? Both of them are claiming that the other one was in on it. However, Gregson and Vigil had an arrangement. They were secret dealing. And basically, Gregson paid Daily to just impersonate him. So to create an alibi for Gregson. And Gregson would just go off and do something, question mark, you know? It doesn't sound good. It adds details about all the crimes that have been pegged as the Reaper's work. What? No, did you see it, Gina?
Did you see that notebook? They wouldn't flamin' let me. Cause I'm just an apprentice, apparently. But it was me who found it, and he was my boss. That's right. I was pretty miffed about it, so. Oh, and also, this is just a personal development. Oh, I'm starting to think that Genshin Asogi wasn't the actual professor at all. I'm starting to think he was set up. There's a lot of evidence to like kind of lead me to that conclusion. And I have a person who I suspect for everything. I think Lord Strongheart is the professor. I think Lord Strongheart is the Reaper. I think Lord Strongheart is fucking everything in this game. You know what I'm saying? I'll sneak a peek at what it said anyway. Oh, that's Argina. The secret notebook. So you managed to see what was written in Gregson's secret notebook anyway, did you? Way I see it, it's my right to read what he wrote. And what had he written, Gina? Dates, times, places, names, and all a long list of them. All details about the bludgers supposed to have been done in by the Reaper. But there could be an explanation for that. Perhaps it was a record of the inspector's investigations into the Reaper's activities. Exactly, that's what I said. That's the first thing you'd think, alright? As it happens, it was full of names I recognized anyway. Well, the Reaper's targets were almost exclusively known leaders of London's criminal underworld. Well, yeah, but there was one name right at the end that was a bit odd. At the end of the list, you mean? I'm pretty sure the date against it was 31st October. Oh, the day before the inspector was found dead. So, what was the odd name? It weren't like a name I've ever seen before. It was something like, Nah, it's no good. I can't remember it. I don't think it was an English name, put it that way. Oh dear. Japanese? What a pity. There was something else too. I don't know if it matters, but the same name kept coming up over and over. Shin, it was. Don't suppose it means anything, but... Oh my god. Did you say Shin? Yeah? What? It doesn't. It does mean something. Lord Van Zieks knew the name too. He mentioned her as well. The woman who actually did the deeds. And now we find out her name appeared in Gregson's secret notebook. Your investigations. Let me know what you found. We haven't seen you for a little while, have we, Gina? Well, of course not. I've been busy, ain't I? Investigating on that. The lads at the yard are trying to trace the boss's movements like the day before it happened. The day before? That would be the undercover investigation into the Red-Headed League, then. Only the boss didn't go, did he? You found some cove that was pretending to be him, didn't you, Otto? Yes, it was Mr. Vigil who actually went to the park on Lime Street that day, posing as Gregson. Well, anyway, you ain't the only one turning stuff up. I've got my own ways of getting results. Yeah, Tommy! When me and my partner get here together, there's nothing we can't track down. Oh, little Toby. He's such a faithful friend. So, have you tracked anything down then? What'd you think, eh? Of course we have. Can't tell you though. Police business, innit? Ugh. Anyway, the point is, if you lot ever need me, you know who to you know who to turn to, right? Me and the Hellhound here. The Hound of the Baskervilles, chat! It's the Hound of the Baskervilles, he's right here! Oh, because he looks oh so hellish, honest. The Hellhound! Gina, about your Hellhound there. Chief Inspector Toby, you mean? He's the pride of the force, he is. In Japanese, police dog means something quite different, and not altogether nice to those involved in crime. Oh. But here in Britain, it's a wonderful compliment, it seems, for a canine at least. It should be. After all, in the great exhibition case the other day, it was Toby here who managed to locate Drebber's workshop. Maybe it's time for another demonstration of what the super dog can do, eh? Do we have something the Chief Inspector could catch the scent of, I wonder? Fuck, shit, I don't know. Oh, maybe the pistol.
Take that!
Well, Chief Inspector Toby, if you wouldn't mind having a sniff of this. That Chief Inspector said woof to that, Otto. Yes, I heard. Does that mean no, or... I think perhaps that particular item didn't excite him very much. Damn it! Ain't you got nothing else? I'll have a think. Well, damn! What else do we have? Red-headed League, photograph of Mr. Vigil, letter of introduction, dismissal notice. Oh, wait! Wait, the hairpiece! What if? Chat, what if? We could track the real owner. Maybe, maybe, maybe. I'll figure this out, chat.
Take that!
Take that. Oh, God. He might be a little too keen, don't you think? Oh! Ah! Oh my God. The Chief Inspector made short work of Gina there. Wow, that was horrifying. Ah, look at what he's gone to. Oh my, that trunk clearly still has a very strong scent. Of Inspector Gregson. In other words, it must have belonged to him. Oh, okay, I see what we did there. Oh, all right, it's a fair cop, I suppose. And you nearly got away with it, too. Get puppied, idiot. You always talk proudly of Chief Inspector Toby's nose and what it can achieve. Did it not cross your mind that he might identify something that was right next to us? Yeah, that was a bit of a bloomer, wasn't it? That's enough now then, Gina. Eh? I think it's time you told us the truth about that trunk. Way more like that. It just went. What are you talking about? Oh no, it's going through that head of yours, but that ain't what happened. All right then, what did happen? There was a cut in the side of it. Well, like I said before, we were trying to trace the boss's movements. So I let Toby here have a whiff of the boss's overcoat. As soon as I done that, he went off like a shot. Straight to that sandwich. To a sandwich? Not to a bag of chips? Miss Naruhodo, I believe Gina means the witness. Sandwich? Is Beppo guilty of this murder? I forgot about that sandwich. Yeah, he had it hidden between them wooden boards of his. The boss's trunk. Sandwich, how could you? You mean when they heard the sound like a gunshot and all piled in here? Beppo killed. Exactly, he nabbed it from the scene. Goodness. Man, the Chief Inspector gave that sandwich a good grilling, and you know what he said? I thought it might fetch a good price and the chap wouldn't be needing it anymore, so but that's all I did, and I wore nothing less. And would you Adam and Eve the cheek of it, eh? Stealing the dead boss's stuff to flog. So Miss Venus wasn't the only one to meddle with the scene of the crime, then. How could they? So anyway, that's how it happened. And it's a pretty decent chunk, so I figured I might as well make use of it. Is there something wrong with that there? Well, can we open it? Maybe you and Mr. Sandwich should try and find the answer to that question together. I think perhaps that trunk should be turned over to the police, don't you? What are you on about? I am the police! Gina, if you wouldn't mind, could we maybe examine it? Yeah, all right then. Do what you want with it. Thank you. We shall make a detailed record of our examination of the evidence. Before I find out what's wrong with Toby and what he's yelling about, I really want to see what this is. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. Gosh, for a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged. Whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. Like a bullet hole? I wonder how it happened. Oh, shit. What is it with Gina and just like taking stuff that has people's blood on it? Look at this dark stain here. Do you think? Yes, I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means that this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion, yes. To think Gina's been carrying this around with her. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. I'll always miss you, buddy. Gregson. All right, can we open it? Let's have a look inside. Oh my fucking god. What is this? We're at the core now, chat. Look, there's something inside. Ooh, let's see. It appears to be a passport, authorizing him to travel overseas. Was Inspector Gregson about to go on a trip abroad then? He was going to Paris, don't you remember? Perhaps the date of departure might tell us something. That was... Oh, what is it? It was for travel on 31st October, just 1 day before the incident. What? Really? Passport. Travel to France. Gregson went to France the day before his body was discovered. Wait, he went? Wait, what? Gregsy? What is Gregsy doing? Interesting. And also, can I examine this? Departure within 1 week from 31st October. Destination, port of Dunkirk, France. Police business. Permission for the applicant and 1 additional person to travel. Okay, so he was presumably going to bring Gina, right? Interesting. Okay. Grr. What's the matter with Toby? Why is he acting so aggressively towards me all of a sudden? Miss Naruhodo, be careful. It must be the trunk. Oh my god. Chad, I just got jump scared. Toby, alright, what you doing? You're gonna lick his face off. Chat, that was the most terrifying thing I've ever happened in my life. Miss Naruhodo, Miss Naruhodo! Gina, quickly, hail a carriage. That was so fucking funny. They're trying to play it off as like an event. But come on, dude, that was hilarious. Oh my god. Well done. They get into Smash, exactly. Miss Naruhodo, are you alright? Miss Sasato. Oh, conscious again at last. I have to talk to you. Sholmes, I need you to stop your bullshit and tell me the truth. A blessed relief, my dear fellow. After all, to drop dead after a moderate licking by a small terrier, most unseemly. What is... What is or isn't seemly is irrelevant here, Mr. Sholmes. Dog fucking killed him, real. Toby's a real one for that. I'm so glad there's no lasting damage. How are you feeling? I'm fine. She killed him with her eyes, dude. She's Cyclops. Did you bring me back here? Ah, what's this on my head? A bandage. Sadly, we had no ice. So that's a compress of sugar water. Sugar water? Don't worry, Miss Naruhodo. It's a first aid treatment that my father taught me. Oh, thank you. So let us take tea when you're feeling up to it. But of course, no sugar in the patient's cup. The bum on my head is throbbing sweetly enough, don't worry. Whenever you feel better, then. I need to talk to you. Thank you for your concern, Mr. Sholmes. My dear fellow, think nothing of it. I must say I was quite startled when I heard that you'd been attacked by a dog. For a moment, I feared the infamous murderer of so many had come back from the dead. Oh my god, that is how he killed people, isn't it? Oh shit. You mean the professor? Oh shit. I'm so normal about Sholmes. Fortunately, I see your prized throat is unscathed. That stiff, turned-up collar of yours obviously afforded some welcome protection. Was I that close to death? All I really remember is the dog licking my face over and over and over again. Well, if you wish to avoid such troubles in future, a little mustard spread on the cheeks should do the trick. I should think that would balance the sweetness of your bandage rather splendidly. That's all you had to say? I hate you. No, okay, what should I do then? What do you think I should do? Are you alright, Miss Naruhodo? It's rather unusual to find yourselves here in the middle of our investigations. It's just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning. Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong. Oh, yes, of course. Let's get back to work. There you go.
Bum 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 bum. Is Iris here? We need to talk to Iris and Chomes. Did you steal Maria Gori's autopsy reports? Party rockers in the house tonight! Oh my god! What on earth is going on in here? Am I having a bad dream? Oh no, it's an old German folk song. Rather a fine rendition, I think. That's the least of my concerns. Iris? Iris, what's the matter? Did he just get drunk? Who is that sprawling, that relaxed gentleman over there? Iris? Is she even listening? Excuse me, sir! I do apologize for troubling you whilst you're singing so merrily, but would you be kind enough to explain the situation? That's not him singing, it's the thing. Well, that worked. He got into the trunk! The trunk! A crooning gentleman and a mute young girl. A rather tantalizing juxtaposition. And one that appears to have incited the gods of deduction within me to find their voices too. Ah, Mr. Sholmes, do you mean... Look at her! The strains of reasoning within me are playing now as the delightful duet. One melody sings of a reunion filled with nostalgia, whilst the other is a morose theme about the great secret you're trying so desperately to conceal. Iris. She's turned as white as a sheet. So as usual, you've instantly seen to the very heart of the matter. And by the time my own brief performance is over, I feel sure this gentleman's song will reach its finale. So then, to Music Land, where all is sweetness and delicacy and harmony. Pray, do enjoy Herlock Sholmes' latest Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Oh, look, he's got a different outline, because he doesn't have... They really are amazing, this game. It's Susato's dad, obviously. Firstly, we consider the gentleman's nationality. Clearly, he's a German with no grasp of the English language, as evidenced by the Germanic song he sings and his apparently inability to understand when asked to desist. So why is the man here at all and in such apparently high spirits? The answer, of course, Iris, is clearly known to you. Sholmes destroys Iris with facts and logic. Indeed, we need only follow the gaze of those bright young eyes to unravel that particular part of this mystery. The reason for the man's mildly irritating wobbling is revealed by the herbal tea. You obviously offered our German guest a cup of your latest herbal blend. The tea's delectable flavor has made the man's spirits soar, and resulted in this joyful ditty tumbling incessantly from his lips. I eagerly awaited sampling the flavor myself, that I may join the fellow in a state of elation. Now to the next question. Who exactly is this gentleman availing himself so thoroughly of the settee? As it happens, a number of years ago now, a certain gentleman of German origin engaged in my services in solving a particularly delicate case. He required the retrieval of letters once sent to an acquaintance that might have proved problematic. In order to conceal his noble identity, he also arrived at my office in a mask. Yo, is it ready? Okay, I'll be down soon. The gentleman's name was Wilhelm Gottfried Sigmundson von Ormstein. No, it isn't. Sholmes. That couldn't contain it. Sholmes is being dumb again. I'm sorry. The King of Germany. If my memory serves, the mask worn by this gentleman is identical. Yes, there can be no question. That mask belongs to the King of Germany. Germany doesn't even have it. Oh, well, actually, no, it has an emperor, right? At this point in history? I don't remember. No, it's a... Shit. I think it's actually controlled by unsavory parties at this point in history. Oh, it would appear that His Majesty remembers the fine service I afforded him, and has decided to show his face again, mask and all, in order to express his gratitude. A well-mannered monarch indeed, wouldn't you agree, my dear fellow? So the identity of this masked visitor is in fact my former client, the King of Germany. Indeed, his son is currently in London as well, enjoying the wonders of the Great Exhibition. The little German boy! This is not my fault! I love the little German boy, but it's not him. It's not his dad. Unfortunately. I wish it was. I really do wish it was. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Yes, you, young Iris. But your apparently inexplicable silence is unable to hide the truth. Yes, the reason for your mutinous is concealed inside that knapsack. A £5 note, I believe. I must say, as your compatriot, I'm deeply saddened. It would appear that you've allowed yourself to be bribed into silence by His Royal Highness, earning yourself some spending money in exchange for keeping quiet about the king's secret. And now the final piece of the puzzle. What is this secret you strive to hide with your silence, Iris? Ah yes, we need only follow that brief involuntary twitch of your eyes to find the answer. You were attempting to abscond with that coffee cup. My favorite coffee cup, in fact. Or should I say, the handle of my favorite coffee cup. It appears that this high-spirited highness broke it in the midst of its hijinks. Which leads us to the sad truth. My favorite coffee cup has been broken by the King of Germany! And Iris, you tried to conceal it from me! I shall have a bill sent via governmental channels to the German royal family for its replacement. I'd be crying about that too if I look like that, my guy. I'd be crying up. That's fucked up what they doing to your hair though. No! Sad thus concludes Sherlock Holmes' great deduction of this painful puzzle. Sholmes. Ja, es kam Sturms, jam viel Schimbrot. With your silence as well, the fellow's jovial warbling rather rings in the ears, does it not? Huh. Mr. Sholmes, I must say something does rather trouble me. The fact that I really need to end stream right now, but I kind of want to do this first. Pray, Mr. Sato, do tell. His Royal Highness doesn't appear to have moved a muscle since we arrived. Ah, and you haven't said a word either, Iris. And Mr. Sholmes has it all right. You might as well own up to it now. We understand, Mister. I know, it's better for the video if I finish it, though. Your reasoning isn't entirely without substance, I must admit. And one other thing, Mr. Sholmes. He's clearly not singing. It's another grievance, Mr. Hoodoo. Surely not. I actually read the story of that case recently. The one you were just describing. And according to that, at least, it wasn't the King of Germany, it was the King of Bohemia. Goodness, was it? Yes, that's quite true. Master Gotz, the prince, testified to that in court. In his words, I have come to see the great exhibition all the way from my home in Bohemia. That's her impression of him. I just wanted to do his voice again. I would ask you to keep that a minor error to yourselves. It could easily become quite a scandal. I believe, Mr. Naruhodo, that it's our turn now to make some corrections to a number of minor errors that may have slipped in. Even Mr. Sholmes is willing to admit he might be slightly wide of the mark this time, although it's clear that Iris is definitely hiding something. We need to find the truth behind this mysterious scene, but one truth is incontrovertible. My favorite coffee cup is no more. So, shall we embark again on a joint presentation of Sherlock Holmes? Let me do it already! Hold it, Mr. Sholmes! I don't want to voice it again. I don't want to voice it again! I'm sorry, I'm tired, bro. Let's just go through it. Med Eis, kom mis en blod, gem nis en blei.
So what? Some mix of herbs that gives you the urge to sing? Goodness, I should like to try some. And I'd like to hear your singing. But this man, how long does he intend to keep up with that tune, do you suppose? As I said, he's been stock still the entire time. Can you not tell that that's your dad? Can you not tell? Even if my dad was wearing that plague mask, I'd be able to tell. It's the gramophone, obviously. Yeah. Machine singing, that can't be right. Science and technology are changing the world rapidly, Miss Nodohodo. What's right is changing too. It's too much for my brain. Well, at least we found our answer. Gramophone, baby.
Feel simple.
The reason for the man's mildly irritating warbling is revealed by the gramophone. Indeed, for no well-bred gentleman would break into obscure folk song making a social call. In other words, this gentleman isn't singing at all, in fact. It would appear that the fellow is unconscious. Can we turn that off? Ah, the music seems to have stopped now. Thank God. I ask you, Miss Nodohodo, yes? Why would I have purchased a recording of that gibberish? How should I know? Oh, never mind. Does Sholmes do this on purpose, or is he actually a himbo? I would like to believe the latter. I would like to believe the latter. Wilhelm Großreich Sigmund sind vom Ormstein. I just wanted to say that again. It's Professor Mikotoba. Why is he drunk and just like passed out from tea? Maybe he's allergic. Maybe he's allergic to whatever herbs are in there. Although we've already established that it was actually the King of Bohemia. See, Mr. Sholmes, my jaw is tired. My jaw is tired, man. The young prince was wearing a mask, Master Gots. The boy who had you who had endears. Huh, that's actually an interesting connection. Oh shit.
Take that!
Take that. Cosmo Sogi, baby. There can be no question. That mask belongs to Cosmo Sogi. In other words, my memory is sublimely unreliable. Only you could try to make that sound positive. Cosmo's masks have been languishing on this metal chest for several days. Though that doesn't explain why the gentleman is wearing it now. But it is now a simple matter to determine our guest's true identity. After all, the gentleman is unconscious. Just take it off. We need only excuse ourselves in advance. Gently lift the mask and peer beneath it. It's Professor Mikotoba. I love his reaction to Sholmes. I don't believe it. Ah! Fuck! Susato says fuck. The movie. Father! I'm afraid, Mr. Sato, you must be mistaken. No, I think not, Mr. Sholmes. Then it would appear our logic and reasoning has once again revealed the truth. Let Susato say fuck. I agree. Oh! Ah! Ah! Susato is my unconscious father, Yuji Mikotoba. Dude, Susato! Logic and reasoning, or just looking and saying? Susato is such a girl boss. Susato, the girl queen pussy boss of the century. Which leaves us with one remaining imponderable. Oh, I'm just gonna fucking click through this shit. Yeah, Susato's like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up! I love Susato, just like girl bossing all over Sholmes's, you know? That's a £5 note, is it? Oh dear, I can't be sure.
Most money that we encounter is in coin form. I'm not even sure we've seen any banknotes here in Britain at all, have we? But anyway, Father had never paid money for Iris's silence. He certainly seems like the silent type, judging by his present state. Some other reason for Iris' silence, I suppose. Perhaps what Iris is trying so hard not to give away with her eyes is something entirely different. It's the fucking broken, like, shit, dude. Wait, really? Oh, it's the chest.
Take that!
Yeah. Yes, the reason for your muteness is concealed inside that metal chest. An excellent observation, for upon closer inspection, there is something different about this chest's appearance. It's kept locked at all times, yet now the catch is open. Evidently, this is something to do with your refusal to speak, Iris. But it's a simple enough matter to incite you to speak, I'm sure. I merely need to open this chest. All the things are gone, aren't they? Are they all gone? Here we go. No! Really don't! Oh! Oh! I get it now. Mr. Sholmes! Really? They killed him! He's dead! Never. Oh, Hurley, I told you not to open it. Ah, so you found your voice now, Iris. Ah. In other words, what just happened clearly reveals the truth here. Yes, I'll finish it myself, I guess. The real reason for your silence until now is... This is somewhat different to the usual dance of deduction you perform, Mr. Sholmes, isn't it? Well, he's left me alone on the ballroom floor, so I'm gonna have to dance this next part solo. He's ditched his date, man. God. You don't know the answer yet? Oh, shit. Mr. Sato, sometimes a man needs to point his finger first and think later. True enough. I do that every single trial. Shit, I gotta go. All right, I hope you have a good one. The key.
Take that!
BattleBots time. All right, have a good day, Crisis. Thank you for coming out. There's not much of this left. I'm gonna end it as soon as this is over, so you're not gonna miss much. The real reason for your silence until now is that key behind your back. When Mr. Sholmes was thrown into the air before... Just before you called out to try and stop him, you slipped something out of your mouth. That's oh, it was in her mouth. No doubt, the key to the chest. You're so clever, Runo. Now it becomes clear, thanks to Mr. Sholmes' great graphic demonstration. We can well imagine what happened here. Professor Mikotoba also opened that metal chest, only to be punched into the air and land sprawled under the settee. But wait, that doesn't explain all the facts. What about the stylish scarf? And the cut, because there was shit on it. Why would he be wearing Cosmo style? Oh, they landed in that order? An unbelievable miracle took place in this room. Isn't that right, Iris? Baba ba 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 ba. Oh, it's me and Susanoo! Yes! Look at us! Would you expect anything less? We're girl bosses. You're right. It happened exactly as you said. Brilliant, Runo. Thus concludes Ryunosuke Naruhodo's great deduction of this punchy puzzle. Why don't I make a fresh pot of tea for us all? Oh my god. That's it. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be the end of the stream today. Thank you guys so much for coming out. Been an absolute pleasure to have you guys here. I'm just gonna go. Like, I'm literally just gonna press end stream and then that's it. See ya.